Ajaz Saab, have you joined?
Yeah, sir, I have joined.
You are the moderator of this session, right?
Okay, sir. Okay, may I
Okay.
start now?
आप ही moderator है ना Ajaz Saab?
Yes, sir. Shall I start now, sir?
Yes, please go ahead. It is
Okay.
10 o'clock. You can start.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum and good morning. Today is Wednesday, the 10th day of this wonderful refresher course. I welcome all the participants on behalf of UGC HRDC, University of Kashmir. In this course, participants from different science fields exchanged their knowledge, experience, research, and ideas. I hope this course will help us to engineer our teaching and research skills so as to make our services more meaningful and productive. We begin today's morning session with participant presentations. First, I am inviting Dr. Ghazala Nisar to present her topic, Dietary Management of Type 2 Diabetes. Dr. Ghazala Nisar. Are you, ma'am, there?
Yes, sir.
Uh, would you like to share your screen?
Okay, sir. Is this visible, sir?
Yeah, it's visible.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, shall I start?
Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. Respected Director, HRDC Center, Kashmir University, Professor Mushtaq Ahmed Darzi, sir. Respected Coordinator, Dr. Geer, sir. Moderator of this session, and all the participants, a very good morning to all of you. Myself, Ghazala Nisar, Assistant Professor, Institute of Home Science, Kashmir University. Today I am here on this webinar to present my topic entitled Dietary Management of Type 2 Diabetes Mellitus. Now, why I have selected this topic is that the main goal in treating type 2 diabetes is to maintain the blood sugar level within the normal limits and to prevent the development of long-term complications of diabetes mellitus such as nephropathy, neuropathy, and so on. And this is only possible by proper dietary management, or I can say dietary modifications that often corrects the hyperglycemia of type 2 diabetes mellitus. For this, the patient has to follow a very simple dietary management in order to maintain the optimum blood sugar level within the normal limits. Now, the type 2 diabetes is a major non communicable disease with increasing prevalence at a global level as well as in our Kashmir Valley. As a result of population growth, consumption of unhealthy diets such as highly saturated fat, high carbohydrate diet, and obesity and sedentary lifestyle are also major cause in the increasing prevalence of diabetes mellitus. The prevalence of diabetes mellitus is increasing around the world at a rate that appears dramatic as to have been characterized as an epidemic. As of 2019, an estimated 463 million people had diabetes worldwide, and with type 2 diabetes making up to 90% of the total cases. Diabetes at least doubles a person's risk of early death. In 2019, diabetes resulted in approximately 4.2 million deaths. It is the seventh leading cause of death globally, and in India, it is second leading cause of death in India. Now, what n- uh, first I will give an definition of what actually diabetes is. Diabetes is a metabolic disorder. It is due to the deficiency of insulin. Diabetes is also known as a disease of poverty and prosperity. That means the body has enough glucose, but it cannot utilize it because of the deficiency of insulin, or there is destruction of beta cells of the pancreas. Insulin is secreted by the beta cells of pancreas, which helps in regulating the normal blood sugar levels. But in diabetes, these beta cells may be destroyed due to maybe viral infections, such as in the case of type 1, diabetes, or there may be insulin resistance or insufficient supply of insulin by the beta cells, which resulted in type 2 diabetes mellitus. Now, what is the basic classification of diabetes mellitus is type 1 diabetes, type 2, and gestational diabetes mellitus. Apart from these, there are other types also. So, type 1 diabetes mellitus is also known as juvenile diabetes mellitus or insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. It is known as juvenile diabetes because it usually occurs in children under the age of 20 years. There is complete destruction of beta cells of pancreas due to viral infections, and autoimmunity is also responsible for this destruction. Now, the cause of autoimmunity is well unknown. This can be further classified as immune mediated, idiopathic. The majority of type 1 diabetes is of immune mediated nature, in which a T cell mediated autoimmune attacks leads to the loss of beta cells, and thus insufficient insulin, thus insulin is not secreted by the beta cells. Insulin is needed to move the blood sugar into the cells throughout the body. The resulting insulin deficiency leads to increase in the blood sugar level, and as such, uh, the sugar is not utilized by the cells. Now, the type 2 diabetes mellitus, it is also known as non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus or adult onset diabetes mellitus. Uh, it begins with insulin resistance, a condition in which cells fail to respond to insulin properly. As the disease progresses, a lack of insulin may also develop. This form was previously known as adult onset diabetes, and the most common cause of type 2 diabetes is combination of excessive body weight, that is obesity. If a person is having BMI of greater than 30 kgs per meter square, or lack of physical exercise is also one of the cause of type 2 diabetes mellitus. At in this the at first the pancreas will some insulin to overcome the body's resistance. Eventually the cells wear out, and the best way for the prevention of and treatment of type 2 diabetes is to manage a healthy diet, regular physical exercise, and to maintain a normal body weight. Now, third, gestational diabetes mellitus. Usually, it is seen in pregnant women. Those females who are over 35 years of age, over 35 years of age, are more susceptible to develop this type of diabetes, who have a family history of diabetes, or who have a history of polycystic ovarian disorder. A small percentage of pregnant women are usually affected by this type of diabetes. It is thought that hormone which is developed in the pancreas interferes with the body's insulin response, and which leads to insulin resistance and high level of glucose in the body. It has been seen that 20 to 10% of all pregnancy may suffer from this type of diabetes. It is recommended that all pregnant women should get tested started at around 24 to 28 weeks of gestation. It is most often diagnosed in the second or third trimester of pregnancy because of increase in the insulin antagonistic hormone that occurs at that time. Women who develop usually this type of diabetes, that is gestational diabetes, are at higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes in the later life. Now, etiology. What are the causes of this diabetes? The main causes of diabetes are heredity, obesity, sedentary lifestyle, malnutrition, secondary diabetes, stress, and viral infections. Heredity usually plays a very important role in determining in whom diabetes will develop and in whom it will not. It does this by increasing the susceptibility of the beta cells of the pancreas to destruction by viruses, or by favoring the development of autoimmune antibodies against the beta cells, thus also leading to their destruction. In other instance, there appears to be a simple hereditary tendencies for beta cells of the pancreas for degeneration. Now, obesity is one of the primary cause which leads to type 2 diabetes. Now, what is the reason behind this? That it has been seen that obesity decreases the number of insulin receptors in the insulin target cells throughout the body, thus making the amount of insulin that is available less effective in promoting its usual metabolic effect. Apart from this, stress also has a major role in causing type 2 diabetes. Stress for example, in stress there are some of the hormones which are released, that is glucagon and cortisols are secreted, and these hormones cause blood sugar levels to go up. In some It has been seen in some people that stress increases appetite and thereby promotes weight gain, which indirectly leads to type 2 diabetes because of obesity. Sleep deprivation can also lead to increase in cortisol levels, which in turn leads to the development of type 2 diabetes. Now, apart from this, malnutrition, for example, if a person is malnourished, he will be having less immunity, and as such the pancreas will be more prone to various infections, viral infections and injuries, so that can also lead to diabetes. Secondary diabetes means if there is injury to the pancreas, for example due to accidents, tumors, surgery, or if a person has undergone pancreatectomy, or if a person is suffering from pancreatitis, that can also lead to the destruction of beta cells of the pancreas, thereby increasing the risk of patient of developing type 2 diabetes. Now, viral infections can also cause destruction of beta cells, thereby leading to the development of type 2 diabetes. Now, what are the common symptoms of type 2 diabetes? Are polydipsia, polyuria, um, polyphagia, fatigue, blurred vision. These are some of the symptoms of type 2 diabetes. Uh, Now, next slide. uh, Complications. Now, what are the complications of type 2 diabetes? It can lead to retinopathy, neuropathy, diabetic foot, and so on. All forms of diabetes increase the risk of long term complications, and they usually develop after the age of 10 to 20 years. The major long term complications related to damage to blood vessels. It doubles the risk of cardiovascular disease, and about 70%, 5% of death in people with diabetes are due to coronary artery disease, other macrovascular disease, including stroke, peripheral artery disease, and so on. The primary complication of diabetes is due to the damage to the blood vessels, including the damage to the eyes, kidneys, nerves, thereby leading to retinopathy, neuropathy, and so on. Diabetes can also increase the risk of having glaucoma, cataract, and other eye problems. It is recommended that people with diabetes should visit an eye doctor once a year. Now, it can also lead to the damage to the nerves of the body, known as diabetic nephropathy, which is a common complication of diabetes. Now,
Would you please conclude, ma'am? Okay.
yes. Now, the management of diabetes is uh, proper care of diabetes is essential because no known cure exists, and good management reduces the frequency of complications. There are three methods of treatment available for diabetic patients, that is diet alone, or diet and oral hypoglycemic agents, or diet and insulin. But if a person takes dietary follows the appropriate dietary modification, he can simply control the diabetes blood sugar level within the normal limits. These are some of the principal dietary recommendations guidelines for people with type 2 diabetes. They have to restrict their calorie restriction. They have to restrict their calories. They have to take low carbohydrate diet. For example, they should include complex carbohydrates, for example, whole grains, fruits and vegetables which are rich in fiber. Normal proteins, they have to take low fats, especially saturated fats. They should omit saturated fats from their diet, and they should take more polyunsaturated fatty acids and monounsaturated fatty acids, which has been shown to decrease the blood sugar levels. The diet, and they should also take high fiber diet. Now, carbohydrates should provide 50 to 60% of total calorie content of the diet, uh, and complex carbohydrates should be included in the diet. Protein intake should be between 10 to 50% of total energy. Protein should be derived from both animal and vegetable source. Dietary fat should be of 25 to 35% of total intake of calories, but saturated fat intake should not exceed 10% of total energy. Cholesterol consumption should be restricted and limited to 300 milligrams or less daily. Excessive salt should be avoided. It should be particularly restricted in people with hypertension and those with neuropathy. Now, there are some special diets which are recommended for diabetic patients. One of the diet is Mediterranean diet, consists of fruits, vegetable, whole grains, and so on. And it is high in carbohydrate and refuge. The diet is accompanied by exercise. Next, glycemic index diet. Lowering the glycemic index of one's diet can improve the control of diabetes. This includes avoidance of such foods as potato, cooked in certain ways, and white bread. It insists favor multigrain breads, legumes, and whole grains that are converted more slowly to glucose in the bloodstream. Low carbohydrate diet is, it has been suggested.
Please
uh,
conclude.
Okay, they should take low carbohydrate diets, and these are some of the foods that they should include in their daily diet, that is bitter gourd, fenugreek seeds, amla, garlic, spinach, and so on, because they are very high in fiber, which has a beneficial role to play in the treatment of diabetes, and they are also rich in vitamin C, magnesium, and other nutrients. Beside this, they should also follow a exercise regime which will help in reducing their body weight, and thus can control the blood sugar level. Thank you.
Dr. Ghazala Nisar in her talk explained what diabetes is, its types, what are the issues related to its management, how it is related to blood pressure and kidney disease. Okay, our second speaker is Dr. Raja Nisar Ali. He's an assistant professor at Central University of Kashmir. He will speak about radiation in environment.
So kindly allow me to share the screen.
Okay, please.
So kindly,
Dr. Ghazala, please leave this. Okay.
so are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, you are audible, and as well as screen is visible.
So is my presentation visible?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Respected in charge director Professor Mushtaq Ahmed Darzi Saab, Wadi coordinator Professor Gir Muhammad Isaac, and dear colleagues and participants, a very good morning to all of you. I welcome you to the presentation, Radiation and Environment. Myself, Rajan Sarali, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, Central University of Kashmir. The brief outline of my presentation will be, I introduce what is the radiation and environment, then what are the various sources of the radiation and types of radiation, then examples of radioactive decay series, especially I am focusing on the radioactive radiation, although there are many types of the radiation that surround us. Then how do we measure this radiation and the amount of the radiation, then exposure, to the amount of what amount of the radiation causes hazards, then preventive measures and summary. So the radiation is transmission of energy from one point to another point in space within a definite interval of the time. And examples are electromagnetic waves, particles in motion, sound waves which include ultrasonics, infrasonics, seismic waves, gravitational waves, and so on. Now, environment in a physical space in which species and other objects interact with each other intentionally or unintentionally under the natural physical conditions. And then natural environment is one of the examples where the living organisms interact with the non-living things around them. Now, there are various sources of radiation that surround us. Uh, we have, in fact, surrounded ourselves with radiation knowingly and unknowingly. X-rays, which are used in medical diagnosis, and dental irradiation, or also type of irradiation. Radioactive minerals in crushed rocks, buildings, materials, phosphate fertilizers. They also contain radiation. So, radiation emitting components of the television sets, smoke detectors, and various other consumer products. Then, obviously, radioactive fallout from the nuclear weapons and the radiation released in the nuclear power production, radionuclides in the nuclear medicine, then waste products of the nuclear power plants, if not properly dumped. What are the various natural sources of the radiation? So, cosmic rays. Then there is soil, which contains trace amounts of the radioactive materials like uranium, etc. Uh, Now, accelerated charged particles emit electromagnetic radiation, so which are always present in the atmosphere. Radioactive emission from the spontaneous emission. Radioactivity actually is a spontaneous emission of alpha particles, beta particles, gamma rays, which are mainly coming out from the unstable nuclei. Then extraterrestrial radiation, solar radiation incident on the upper atmosphere. Then we have mainly categorized the radiation in two types. One is non-ionizing radiation, which includes the low energy electromagnetic radiation, visible light, radio waves, microwaves, infrared rays. Obviously, these are not so harmful to the health, but the ionizing radiation, uh, which is harmful to the health, comes in the form of the ultraviolet rays, X-rays, then obviously ionizing nuclear radiation, alpha particles, beta particles, neutrons, protons, gamma rays. So while interacting with the atoms, molecules, they ionize them. And if since our body is also constituted of atoms and molecules, uh, they also interact with the molecules in our say tissues, and lead to the partial or permanent damage of the tissues. Now, what are the various radiations or characteristics of the various radiations? First of all, alpha particles are positively charged helium nuclei and are produced by the radioactive elements. They are energetic and deposit their energy over a very small distance. So, they if alpha particles strike the human body, the layer of the skin, if it gets excessive exposure, it leads to the damage to the skin. But the more dangerous thing is if these radioactive elements are inhaled or swallowed, or somehow they enter into the body through wounds and cuts. That is more dangerous. Now, the concentrated deposition of energy to the small area uh, makes alpha particles more dangerous. What they do is they deposit large amount of the energy within the small area, and which results in the damage to cells and to DNA, hence cause mutations. Then beta particles are the fast moving electrons. They are negatively charged particles. They have higher penetrating power than the alpha particles, and they deposit their energy over a large area. So they are not as harmful as the alpha particles. They are less damaging to the tissues. They travel farther in air than alpha particles, obviously. Uh, then beta particles can penetrate skin, cause skin burns. Like alpha emitters, beta emitters also provide radiation hazard if inhaled or swallowed. Okay, then gamma rays are the massless packets of the energy. Gamma rays also emitted by the radioactive elements. They are usually emitted along with the alpha and beta particles during the process of radioactivity. They are also hazards for living tissues. They have greater penetrating power, and they can penetrate uh, the barriers like concrete, or they can penetrate in inches of lead, which is considered to be the densest element in the periodic table. They also pass through human body and cause ionization and damage to the tissues and DNA. So and hence they are mutating agents. Now, this figure represents the penetrating power of the various types of the particles. Although I am discussing the alpha particles and alpha, beta, and gamma particles more because of their radioactive nature. Now, how do we minimize this figure also represents how do we minimize the exposure to the radiation? Uh, we can minimize the time of exposure to the ionizing radiation. We can shield ourselves from the sources of the radiation that will highly reduce our exposure to the source of radiation. And we can also try to be as far away from the source of the radiation as depicted by the inverse square law of the radiation. Farther away we are from the radiation source, lesser is the amount of the radiation we will be receiving. So these are some of the measures that we should take in order to avoid a radiation exposure. So the famous examples of the radioactive decay series is the uranium. Uranium 238 has many isotopes. Uh, when uranium 233, it is considered to be most radioactive, uh, along with the plutonium and thorium. So what happens is it results in the alpha decay and produces thorium. After thorium, what happens is the further decays happen, and more alpha and beta particles are produced. So this figure depicts the different elements which are produced during the decay chain of the uranium. You can see radon is one of them, which is most dangerous because it concentrates into the atmosphere. It diffuses into the atmosphere as it is a gaseous. It diffuses into the atmosphere, and there is good possibility that the atmosphere which contains this radon gas definitely is hazardous to the human beings. Now, how do we measure the radiation? Radioactivity is measured in becquerels. One becquerel is integration of one nucleus per second. And the radon concentration in the air is measured by the number of transformations per second in the cubic meter of the air, becquerels per meter cube. Curie is another unit to measure the activity, and millicurie is a smaller unit, although Curie is a larger unit. The SI unit for the radiation dose that is used in the medicines is gray. One gray is defined as a 1 joule of energy received per kg of the tissue. In medical applications, the radiation absorbed dose RAD is also used, which is actually defined as 0.01 gray, or is equivalent to 0.01 gray. The SI unit of measuring the tissue damage caused by the radiation is the sievert, and sievert takes into account the amount of the radiation that is to the proportionate to the tissue damage. So radiation dose is also sometimes measured in Röntgen equivalent man, or EM, and one REM is same as one sievert. According to say we can have different types of the detectors of the radiation, which tells us what is the amount of the radiation that is present in a particular region or in a particular sample that we collect from the different regions. Now, exposure to radon. Radon is a major contributor of the ionizing radiation dose received by the general public, as radion is considered as the second largest cause of the lung cancer after smoking, as per the World Health Organization. About 2 to 3 to 14% of the lung cancers are attributable to the radon. And entry of the radioactive substances into the body is more dangerous than the short-term exposure, external exposure. The radioactive substances in the form of the radon and thoron gas enter the human body through air, affecting lungs. They can be swallowed using the contaminated water, uh, or maybe food items, and they can also sometimes enter through body cuts and wounds if their concentration in the atmosphere is high. Now, radon and thoron gases are actually produced during the decay of the uranium, as I indicated above. Why is it so dangerous? It is odorless, tasteless, and colorless. We cannot see it. And the half life of the radon is only 3.82 days. After that, it emits the alpha particles. Now, if radon is emitting alpha particles, obviously, if it enters our body and maybe in the linings of the say tissues in lungs, what does it do is it emits alpha particles, and those alpha particles will lead to the damage to the tissues and hence cause the lung cancer. Radon gas, when uh, emitting these alpha particles, can also damage the biological tissue and hence the DNA. Now, this is one of the case study where it has been observed as a preventive measure. It has been observed that if we have the house with the bare flooring, we have not covered it, it is just a soil. What is the concentration of the radon in a particular house where we don't have any, say, flooring? Once we cover the flooring with the granite, the amount of both the radon isotopes decreases. If we cover it with the cement, it further decreases. But if we cover it with the mortar type thing plus tiling, that is called as mosaic, so the concentration reduces to the greater levels. So what should be done? It is better to have the mosaic type flooring. As per this study, it is better to have the mosaic flooring of the houses and the workplaces and offices to lower the residential houses with the in order to have the low concentration of the radon within the house, we should also have the good ventilation so that air should be continuously exchanged. It should not, because radon has a tendency to concentrate in the lower floors of the house. So if it is well ventilated, there is a very less possibility of radon concentration within the particular house or within particular room. I have also indicated in red the group which has done this study. Summary. In order to avoid the health hazards due to the indoor radon concentration, uh, WHO has proposed the reference level of 100 becquerel per meter cube. And this condition, if not met, so the level should not exceed 300 becquerel per meter cube, which is equivalent to 10 millisievert per year, and which is considered to be quite dangerous. So mitigation to avoid the possible radon gas risks, or the concentration of the radon gas in the existing dwellings can be controlled by improving the ventilation systems of the houses and improving the underfloor ventilation as well, using the mosaic type flooring in order to avoid the passage of the radon gas from the basement into the living rooms. Then installing the radon monitoring systems for the long-term monitoring, so that we will continuously monitor the pattern in which the radon is concentrated in the particular dwelling area. And it has been observed that the areas with the more congested type of the buildings has more concentration, radon concentration, than the areas where we have the sparse population and houses are quite far, built quite far away from each other. So we should also avoid the congesting of our environment as far as the construction is
Could you
concerned.
please conclude now, Dr. Rajan Nisar
Yeah.
Ali?
Environmental radiation monitoring around the nuclear facilities. These are some of the clues that we can take some of the clues from here. What people are doing? People are monitoring the samples from the land, samples from the sea, as far as the radiation content is concerned. There are also monitoring stations near the, say, for example, nuclear power plants, and there are also monitoring cars. They are provided with the highly sophisticated, say, protective equipments, which are called as PPEs. The persons who are going there, they are provided with those in order that they are not exposed to the large amount of the radiation. Now, radon, World Health Organization first drew attention to the health effects of the radon in the residential areas in 1979 through the European group of the indoor air quality of the and concentration of the radon. Further, radon was classified as a human carcinogen in 1988 by IARC and the World Health Organization. In 1993, World Health Organization specialized cancer research agencies were framed. In 2005, World Health Organization established the International Radon Project to identify the effective strategies for reducing the health impacts of the radon, and also raise the public and political awareness about the consequence of the long-term exposure to the radon case. So these are some of the things I would like to acknowledge Administration Center University of Kashmir for allowing me to participate in this refresher course. I also like to acknowledge UGC HRD Center for their hospitality, and I also want to acknowledge the efforts by ITSS University of Kashmir, who are conducting this event quite successfully and wonderfully. Some of the references in respect of my presentation from which I have taken the material. Thank you.
It was a very informative talk. Rajan Nisar Ali has provided information about sources of radiation, types of radiation, radioactive decay, how we measure amount of radiation in environment, what is an ionizing radiation. Now, may I call Dr. Akhtar Hussain? Dr. Akhtar Hussain.
Yeah.
Okay. You are available to present the, your title is?
Yeah, my title is about, it's about conjugated polymers.
Okay.
And its application in detection.
Okay, you please share your screen.
Okay, let him just.
Rajan Nisar Ali, you please allow Mr. Dr. Gawhar to share his screen. Rajan Nisar Ali. Rajan Nisar Ali, do you hear me?
Yeah, he's trying, let him finish it.
Okay, okay.
All you have to do is to stop sharing. Please
Okay.
press on stop share. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, is my slide visible now?
Okay, your presentation mode. Okay. Oh, no, it is. Yes.
Is it visible now?
It is visible. Is it in PDF format or in this?
I think it is PPT, it's in PPT format.
Yeah, please switch to presentation mode, please.
It's in presentation mode only. Let me. It's okay now?
Yes, you continue, but okay. Okay, now it is visible in presentation mode.
Okay. So, thank you everyone for this nice presentation, and assalamu alaikum and good morning to all of you. So I'm Dr. Akhtar from Degree College Sopur, and my presentation is on detection of anionic surfactants using these conjugated polymers and a strategy for the determination of spermine. So these conjugated polymers are organic macromolecules. As we all know that conjugation means there is alternate single and double bond. So these conjugate polymers are organic macromolecules having alternate single and double bond, means sigma and pi bond. So because of this delocalization of sigma and pi bond, which is responsible for its emission and optoelectronic properties. So these are some of the scientists who have got Nobel Prize in 2000 for their detection of, for their confirmation or discovery of conducting polymers. So it starts from there. So from that, it has been explored how conjugated polymer has been used in every field, like for the detection of explosives, for cancer, for detection of cancer biomarkers, and so many other things. So because of these conjugate polymers has emerged as excellent materials in the field of sensing, because of their numerous remarkable properties like high quantum yield, photostability, and these are their biocompatibility. So not only these applications, they have widespread applications. So these are being used for light emitting diodes, photovoltaic cells, for chemo and biosensing, for bioimaging, for biosense application, or forensic applications for cancer therapy. Presently, these efforts are being put to confirm these materials whether these can be used for the improvement of crop, whether we can improve the efficiency of crop production by using these polymers. So now my topic is about how we can detect anionic surfactants. These anionic surfactants, since we all know, normally anionic surfactants, one of the most common anionic surfactants is SDS and SDBS. So they are having a non-polar chain and a polar head, which is anionic, which is negative in charge. So these anionic surfactants form a major source of environmental pollutant due to their widespread use in personal and or agriculture purpose or industrial purpose or other cleansing purpose. So as we can see, these are present in every life, like liquid soaps, shampoos, face wash, and toothpaste. So these are present in everywhere. So because of their their presence is everywhere, they are being used very much. If their use have been used it's regularly in daily life they have been used because of their widespread applications. Now, so these anionic surfactants are considered as one of the emerging pollutants. So they have they have very bad effects on our health also. So these are mutagenic, they are irritant, they are as I also mentioned that they are pollutants also. They are corrosive in nature, and so as we all earlier we have seen also lectures on anionic surfactants. They can even denature DNA or cell membrane also. It means they are highly dangerous in nature. So there is a need to develop a method where we can detect these anionic surfactants from in our environment, especially in water, since they are normally used in contaminated. They can contaminate normally water bodies. So there is a need to develop a method, a reliable method for the detection of these anionic surfactants. So we have put in our effort to develop a polymer where. So these polymers, this is a long chain. We have inculcated a specific donor and acceptor molecule over here, so that energy transfer can take place. So I will not going to be about on specific terms. I will be explaining in general. So we have prepared this polymer like PFBT MI means imidazole, methyl imidazole. So why we have introduced imidazole over here? Because anionic surfactants have negative charge. So these can interact with the pulse charge or the imidazole, and there are other specific reasons why we have introduced imidazole and why there is 2%. Since we have this, we have engineered a polymer in such a way so that only 20% of this benzthiazole can be introduced into this, so that it will be having a specific function. So what will be its application? So after synthesizing this polymer, we have obtained about its molecular was around 14 kD. Is around 14,000, and its PDI was around 2. So now these are the emission properties which we have done since the polymer. Initially, our polymer is having emission around 420 nanometers. When we excite it around 350 nanometers, it will show emission around 420 nanometers. Okay. By now, when we introduce small quantities, gradually by introducing small quantities of SDS and SDBS into the polymer solution, these are the spectrophotometrically we have taken the titrations. So upon introducing around 18 micromolar of SDS, it's completely quantities of fluorescence around 420 and new peak around 560 or 570 appears. So this peak means the depletion of the emission in blue region and appearance of means emission in higher wavelength can be depicted from this figure. Since we have taken different means polymer, initially we are having polymer means it's concentration. Initially there is very much less means or no concentration of surfactants, so it is showing blue in color, which is also confirmed from the sensing studies, means from spectrophotometrically. The upper introducing small quantities, as we can see that its color changes from cyan bluish to yellowish color. So for a person which is not trained well, he can also detect these small quantities of this anionic surfactants. So one of the interesting thing about anionic surfactant is that athletes which were using this performance enhancing drugs, what they do, they know, means if they have taken some performance enhancing drugs, what they will do, they will means normally their urine sample is being taken, and then it is being detected whether these drugs are present in that or not. So what they do, normally they will give these urine samples in a bathroom. So they will add small quantities of detergent into that. So what will happen? So if they are even taken these drugs, they will show false negative test. Okay, so what our polymer can do over that, so by taking small quantities of that means urine sample, we can add our polymer, whether if it shows color change from means it will, if it shows yellowish color, it means that it has, means that the athlete has introduced some quantities of detergent over that. So our polymer has an application over that also. So here in this case, we have detected a detection limit of around it was around 34 ppb in case of SDS and 45 parts per billion in case of SDBS. Okay, now just making this polymer surfactant complexation, we have furthermore, so to check whether a particular probe is specific for a particular compound, like for anionic surfactants only, we have taken other analytes, like we have taken different anions, different cations, and different other anionic other surfactants like tritonics, like neutral surfactants, other anionic surfactants like which is having CO- group at a terminal group. So it has been confirmed that only the it is showing a response with SDS and SDBS only. And furthermore, we have taken other cationic surfactants and other cationic other cations also, and from that also we confirmed that our polymer is showing the response specifically with SDS and SDBS, thus confirming its widespread application. Furthermore, we now once we have performed this polymer surfactant complex we have formed, then we tried it to check whether it can be used for any other applications. So we all know that spermine is a biogenic polyamine. It's usually found in eukaryotic cells and body fluids, and it plays a very important role in the regulation of several body processes like cell growth and proliferation. So it is this polyamine. So means it is having -4 pulse charge with amine groups. So this polyamine is among the most abundant organic polycation found in human body. Okay, it's also known to stabilize it's also known in numerous stages of protein synthesis, stabilized of nucleic acid conformations and cyclostructural structures. So it has been observed that if a person is having some enhanced levels of spermine in his urine, so it is liable to have many types of cancers. So we can say that this spermine is considered as a we can consider it as a cancer biomarker. So early detection of cancer by using this spermine detection can be used for the early diagnosis of cancer. So we use this. So from literature also it has been confirmed that patients who are suffering from cancer, they have increased or higher level of this spermine in their urine samples. So now what we did, we just after just polymer surfactant complexation is there, then we introduce a spermine over there. So it will show fluorescence quenching. Earlier it was showing yellow fluorescence in around 560 nanometers. Now fluorescence will quench. From that we can detect the concentration of spermine. And here in this case, the spermine concentration was around. It's 120 meter, and detection limit here in this case was 0.1 micromolar, which is very much less than the this what we can say for the detection of early diagnosis of this non-invasive detection of spermine, which is around here in this case it was 0.1 micromolar, and a non-invasive detection for to confirm the presence of cancer in some patients that is between 1 to 10 micromolars. So here in this case, we have done a practical application also. We have taken urine samples and we have spiked it in known concentration of spermine, and then we confirmed it is, and then the recovery rate was very much means even more than 100%. So here in this case, we have taken 3 repetitive experiments. That's why we have got this relative standard deviation around 4, 5, and 7. So we can practically use this polymer for polymer surfactant complexation for the detection of this cancer biomarker for the early diagnosis of cancer. So these are some complexation studies. Initially, our polymer is having, it's having positive charge from the zeta potential. Its charge is around positive 17.4. Okay, so from this, but in TEM we could not get any significant image of the polymer. Then after introducing around the surfactant SDS, so there is negative charge changes from positive 17 to negative 15.5, because now the surfactant surrounds this polymer molecule, so it will form an assembly. So it's here in this case, so its size was between 200 around 200 nanometers. Then after introducing this superamine, so this superamine has a pulse charge. It will just now it will cover the polymer surfactant complex. So there is a complexation formation. So this complexation formation has been confirmed by some studies also. Here in shown A, B, C in the yellow form.
Would you please now conclude?
Yeah, just I'm about to finish. So thank you. So this was the overall strategy. So we have taken a polymer. When we excite it around 350 nanometers, it will show emission around 415. So when we introduce surfactants SG or SDBS, so now the emission was around 415. It will quench gradually, and a new emission around 545 nanometers will appear. So this is because of strong threat from donor to acceptor. From since there were donor molecules and acceptor molecules, so because of this strong threat takes place. So it is because of that from bluish to yellowish emission color was observed. And furthermore, when we introduce spermine, so this is a negative charged molecule. Then when we introduce spermine is a pulse charge. It will just inculcate this negative charge within it and will show fluorescence quenching. And from this we can, which has been, its complexation has been confirmed by SAM, TEM, and other photodynamic photodynamic ratio also. Thank you very much.
Dr. Akhtar Hussain was talking about conjugate polymers, their application in sensing and cancer therapy. So Dr. Gauhar Rashid is our next speaker. He's an assistant professor from Department of Zoology, GDC Kulgam. His presentation title is Environmental Impact of River Bed Mining. Dr. Gauhar Rashid. Dr. Akhtar Hussain, allow Dr. Gauhar to share his screen. Dr. Akhtar Hussain, stop sharing screen, please.
Dr. Gauhar Hussain, please unmute yourself. I'm asking you to unmute yourself. Dr. Gauhar Hussain, please unmute yourself.
Dr. Gauhar Rashid, are you there?
He is here in the group, but it seems he has some issue in unmuting himself. Dr. Gauhar Hussain, I'm asking you to unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself.
Dr. Gauhar Rashid, please unmute yourself.
Just a minute, I will ask him again.
I think the host is not allowing him to unmute. Would you please, Gir sir, check it?
He's being allowed to unmute, but he's not able to unmute himself. That is the problem. I think we can just now there is only 5 minutes are left, so we can just let's not have another participant presentation. We will wait for the resource person to join, and then we'll start with the first technical leads lecture itself, because Gauhar Hussain is not able to unmute himself.
So we will take his presentation before lunch, if time permits.
Yes, yes. And meanwhile, let me check if Professor Nilofer Khan ma'am has joined us. Then we will go ahead with the morning lead lecture. Somebody has named himself as HP. I would request him or her to rename, because it creates some confusion in detecting the participant. HP, please rename yourself. Somebody named HP is requested to please unmute yourself and rename yourself. May I know who is this?
Hello, sir. I am Gawar Rashid.
Please unmute yourself, rename yourself and put off your video and
Okay,
audio.
okay, sir. Okay, sir. Oh.
Okay, Dr. Gawar Rashid is sharing his screen.
Was it Gauhar Rashid? Okay.
No,
There was
Gawhar Rashid.
trying to unmute Gauhar Hussain.
Oh, no, he is Gawhar Rashid.
Problem is he had named himself as HP. So that's why he wouldn't be located. These things we need to take care of. We should use our own name, because it becomes very difficult to identify a person, that too when participants are not raising their hand. We are requesting them to raise their hand, but nobody tries to raise a hand. Probably they are facing some difficulty in locating that icon. Anyway, let me. Gawar Rashid Sahab, you are.
Okay.
Yeah, if
Okay,
you
sir.
want
Okay,
to,
sir.
Or
you may
he's
have.
taking a lot of time. I think there are only a couple of minutes left for our lead lecture.
We will not have presentation now. Gawar Rashid Saab, you will have it later. So you will have it just before lunch. This time we will simply wait for our resource person, Professor Nilofer Khan, to join us. Then we'll go ahead with the morning technical session.
Dr. Gawhar Rashid, you please stop sharing this screen now. We'll take you before lunch.
Okay, sir. Okay. PPT or PPT. Oh, yeah, इति दून पर क्लिक शेयर शेयर कर
Dr. Gawhar Rashid, please stop sharing your screen.
इकट शेयर बंद शेयर
Hanji, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum, madam.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum and good morning to everyone.
Good morning, ma'am. Welcome to this session.
Hope I am on time.
Yes, absolutely. Dot on time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Dear participants, we are proud.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes. I'm about to start, ma'am.
Hello?
Okay, should we start? Are you able to hear me? Am I audible to you, ma'am? Am I audible to you? It seems ma'am has got disconnected again.
Am I audible?
Yes, absolutely. You are audible, ma'am. And am I audible to you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can we start with the session, ma'am, now?
Sure. You want me to start or is there anything from your side first?
We have a moderator of this session. One of the participants acts as a moderator, as you know. Our today's moderator is Dr. Ejaz Ahmed from the Islamia College. And before he begins to welcome you formally and introduce you formally, I would like to inform the participants of this session that Professor Nilofer Khan ma'am has been one of the regular resource persons at Human Resource Development Center. In fact, she has also served as a course coordinator of almost a dozen programs on gender studies. And this has been her forte, her passion, gender studies. She has devoted a large part of her career towards gender studies. And today, again, she is going to deliberate upon issues related to gender equality, mainstreaming, and gender audit. And the Women's Studies Center, which has been established in the University of Kashmir, is the brainchild of Professor Nilofer Khan, ma'am. She has, put a lot of efforts into that, and this has been she has devoted a lot of efforts towards in this direction to have this kind of discourse in our university. And she's a subject expert in this, besides having served at many positions in the university, which will be detailed by our moderator of the session. So I welcome, on behalf of Human Resource Development Center, ma'am, I welcome you and thank you for sparing time for this, for today's discussion. Many, many thanks to you. I hand over to Dr. Ejaz Saab for formal welcome and introduction of the resource person. Over to you, Dr. Ejaz Saab.
Thank you, Veer Saab, for all your, you know, for all your comments about my, work. I thank you very much. And of course, again, I take it as an opportunity to interact with the participants at HRD Center. And in fact, I was missing all this for some time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ejaz Saab,
Okay.
introduce Ejaz Saab.
Okay, today introducing our speaker is a great privilege. She is a living inspiration for all of us. I feel elated to introduce Professor Nilofer Khan, Director, Institute of Home Science, former Registrar, Dean Students Welfare, Dean College Development Council, Dean Faculty of Home Science, University of Kashmir. She is a member of University Council, member of Syndicate, and many other bodies of the university. She has published 50+ research articles in high-impact journals of international repute. She is the author of many books like Role of Kashmiri Women in Agriculture. She has also written a book on prevalence of iron deficiency anemia among adolescent girls and impact of health and nutrition education program in changing their dietary behavior. She has also written a book on impact of domestic violence on Kashmiri women. She has visited universities across the globe. Professor Nilofer Khan visited universities in USA, Australia, Malaysia, Sudan, and UAE. It is impossible to mention her every single accomplishment because they are a lot. I welcome Professor Nilofer Khan on behalf of UGC HRDC, University of Kashmir. She will present her talk on gender equality, gender mainstreaming, and gender audit. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nisar Saab, for all your remarks. As I already said, it's a great opportunity for me always to interact with the participants in HRD Center, because I know that they are from different educational institutes which represent our whole valley. That's the colleges. Some of the colleges, of course, I think maximum of them are affiliated to our university. And, as Dean College Development Council, uh, while I used to go for affiliation and inspection, I know that they are our backbone of the university. And it's very important to train our young faculty on some of the major issues which NAC as well as UGC has made it mandatory to be observed in all educational institutes. That's why I have taken up the topic today. That's just I'll be referring to what is gender equality, something about gender mainstreaming, and more I'll be focusing on gender auditing, because as a NAC peer team evaluator, I know how much NAC stresses on gender auditing while they come while the NAC accreditation is done in each and every component, whether it's curriculum, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's human resource. So that's why I have tried to, interact with the participants and convey some of the important features, how we should do gender auditing in our institutions and why it's important.
Madam, would you please share your screen?
Yeah, I'm doing that. Next. Very simple definitions. I, of course, welcome all the participants. And how many participants are there? Just for my information, please.
Around
Ma'am,
80.
70, 71.
71. Okay. And they are all with the science background?
Yes,
Yeah,
madam, all different streams of.
Okay. Just, simple definitions as they are from the science background. Of course, not anything, very complicated, definitions I want to convey. Let's see what's, gender. Uh, how gender is defined and how gender is explained into the system. Uh, for my audience, very simple, definitions for gender, ideas, and how we conceive gender, ideas and expectations about the characteristics, aptitudes, and likely behavior of women and men that are socially learned. And next can be dynamic and changeable over time and cultural and societal variations. I'll go to next first. I've tried to differentiate between sex and gender. Sex biologically determined differences between women and men that are universal. Of course, this we know, at the birth of a child, it's determined whether we have a boy child or we have a girl child. And it's from this, birth, I must say that we conceive our gender roles, or gender roles are defined to us. uh, how, for example, definitely we have different clothing for a girl child, we'll have different clothing for a boy child. And at birth only, we are so curious to know, uh, what sex has given birth. If, for example, it was not important for us to know about the whether it's a girl child or a boy child, sex at birth would not matter. But it's very important. We have seen in our families, we have seen in society, how it is important to know what sex has given birth. On telephones will convey ladka hua hai us waqt. For example, although the things have changed now, but abhi bhi utni jo hamari position है उतनी भी ठीक नहीं है. We celebrate when a boy, especially जब पहला बच्चा boy हो, we celebrate that we have a boy child. हम अपनी तरफ नहीं देखेंगे. I will not see at myself, at my family status, at from which income group I am. लेकिन आप downtrodden communities में जाइए जहाँ पे गर्ल चाइल्ड जब अभी भी शी इज बॉर्न, कोई खुशी नहीं होती है. दूसरी लड़की हो, तीसरी लड़की हो, it is really, families don't take it in a good gesture. एक अंदर से एक चाहत रहती है कि लड़का क्यों नहीं हुआ. So what is gender? Ideas and expectations about the characteristics, aptitudes, and likely behavior of women and men that are socially learned. So, in general, men are known as bread earner, and women we take that she has to do the unpaid work at home. मैं अपनी सोसाइटी की बात नहीं करती हूँ, मैं फिर से एक मिडिल लेवल ग्रुप की बात करूंगी और एक डाउन ट्रॉडन जो ग्रुप है उनकी बात करूंगी. Dynamic and changeable over time and cultural and societal variations. Why I have written this? Of course, there's dynamism now everywhere. Time has changed, and this time has impact on our cultural as well as on our society. So I hope that these two definitions are clear, because it will get us to why I have taken this particular topic. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely audible.
Okay. Now, after seeing the definitions of sex and gender, let's see what is gender audit and why gender audit. We have seen gender audit. We can say it's a social audit. We have auditing for accounts. We have academic audit. We have heard of academic audit. These days, a performer was circulated to the departments. Even GISA must be knowing it. And we had to do academic audit of our own departments and the information. But again, while I was going through that particular questionnaire, I saw we have a very strong parameters to assess how gender is, taken into account into our various structures of the department, like curriculum, infrastructure, then human resource, and so on. So, in very simpler words, a gender audit is a tool to assess and check the institutionalization of gender equality into organizations, including in their policies, programs, projects, provisions of services, structure, and budget. If any of the colleges, I know the participants from our university, we are very well versed how this gender audit was, taken into consideration while we did our NAC accreditation of the university. Everywhere, how much component pertaining to gender sensitization is there in the curriculum, whether there's separate girls washroom, whether there's common room for girls in the university, in the departments, and so on. And even in the budget, how many scholarships are there for girls, how many scholarships for boys, and so on. How many women have got the research projects, how many research scholars have been awarded, female research scholars have been awarded PhD, and so on. So this was very simple in the beginning to tell you about gender audit. Now, in relation to all this, there are some other terminologies which I want to make clear. Now, what is gender analysis? It refers to the variety of methods used to understand the relationship between men and women, their access to resources, their activities, and the constraints they face related to each other. Gender analysis is an essential element of socio-economic analysis. So, why gender analysis and how this gender analysis is done? I gave an example of NAC accreditation. So, gender analysis can be done through variety of methods used to understand the relationship between men and women. When we talk of our educational institutes, that's colleges and universities, we have co-ed degree colleges, and in universities we know it's open for both girls and boys, it's open for both men and women. So uh, to know about the relationship between men and women through our gender analysis tools is very important. And in educational institutes, I'm talking about through curriculum, how we do the gender sensitization, how we refer to various issues, pertaining to our gender. फॉर एग्जाम्पल डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस की अवेयरनेस कितनी है, हमारी जीएस कैश कमिटीज की कितनी अवेयरनेस है, एंड एक्सेस टू रिसोर्सेज. देन एक्सेस टू रिसोर्सेज में फॉर एग्जाम्पल I'll go back to this. Their activities, what type of activities are taken into the education institutions pertaining to gender sensitization, or women जो है, whether they are working in administration, whether women are there as resource persons, what problems they are facing. Gender analysis is an essential element of socio-economic analysis. It's linked. It's a socio-economic analysis. Uh, Although, I do agree that things have changed and times have changed, there are various parameters to check how both the genders, are come into the system or are there in the system by checks and by having various checks. For example, if we see before, many women were not moving into various leadership positions. Why? Because, I don't have any hindrance in saying, because the patriarchal system was like that. But if we take into our education institution into consideration, now there are checks. There are checks from various monitoring agencies. NAC को आप देखिए, UGC को आप देखें, and then the recruitment policies have changed. If a woman has equally that number of publications as her male colleague, nothing can bar her to move forward. And there are various many other parameters through caste where women have moved forward and they are moving forward. Now, what is gender approach? Gender is a socially constructed definition of women and men. I think by now it must be clear, when we talk of gender, we are talking of both the genders here. That's women and men. If men are moving forward in the system, women have also right to move forward in the system. The gender approach is distinct. It focuses on women and men and not on women in isolation. So I want to make it very clear that when we talk of gender audit, gender approach, gender analysis, we'll definitely see, there's an upper hand of, not upper hand, or so far the system, in system we have more men, we'll have less women. That's true of our educational institutions also. In leadership, positions, we'll see that men are more, women are less. But where it comes, for example, having our, girl students in our PG programs, in our research programs, you'll see that sometimes we'll have more girl students than boys, because there's a set procedure for selection. They have to face the entrance test. So here you'll see that we cannot do anything with that, because there's a system, there's a statute by which women and girls, they are moving forward. It highlights the difference between interest of both men and women. Naturally, there's difference of interest. Women would maybe women. There are various research studies where we have seen that girls prefer to go more into social sciences, and boys prefer to go more into science faculty, applied sciences, biological sciences, and so on. So it's very important to have gender audit of all this, means enrollment of boys and girls into various faculties, into various disciplines, into various subject, and see what's the interest, how the interest is, what interest is there for the boys, what interest is there for the girls. Maybe we need to enhance our infrastructure, enhance our human resource, and enhance our facilities for girls in the campus or in the colleges. Now, gender roles. Gender roles in society means how we are expected to act, speak, dress, groom, and conduct ourselves based upon our assigned sex. You all will agree with me that again it is connected with our gender roles, are connected with our sex. Means as me as a woman, it's expected from me how I dress, how I groom myself, how I speak, how I act. This type of again for example, uh, this if our society is not that modern yet. In Western society or in developed societies, we have seen that much of importance is not given to this. But our society is not so far so advanced. These parameters are still checked on our gender rules, or these expectations are still seen in our gender roles. For example, girls and women are generally expected to dress in typically feminine ways and be polite, accommodating, and nurturing. Now, uh, what is gender stereotyping? Why I am choosing all these definitions and just trying to explain to it? Because it will clarify to the participants why we have to do gender audit in our institutes where we are working. A gender stereotype is a predetermined set of attitudes and behavior. Sometimes things happen and we are not aware that this is due to the gender stereotyping. This is due to the predetermined set of attitudes and behavior that an individual can have. That is believed to be typical of all men and women. This gender stereotyping can be even within a woman. But we have seen that when the gender stereotyping is in a woman, it is not, for example, because of the sex, but sometimes we have seen when the gender stereotyping is there in the mindset of men, it may harm. It may harm. For example, a simple example. For instance, if for any, for example, if for any job where gender stereotyping is already there, हाँ जी ये औरत नहीं कर सकती है, ये एक मर्द ही कर सकता है. Definitely, if we have women, participants or women there as women candidates, definitely, if uh, a committee has that gender stereotyping, a woman will never be chosen. So this was how I wanted to, just clarify the idea about gender stereotyping. Stereotypes about gender assume that there are in fact only two genders, male and female. Of course, we have other genders also, but I'm not referring to it because my mandate here is different. I'm referring only to the educational institutes. Now, how to prepare for a gender audit. uh, Here when I say how to prepare about the gender audit is, of course I'm referring to the education institute. So so far very simple definitions we have uh, just tried to review. That's gender, sex, that is this will come again, gender analysis, because it's all interconnected, gender approach, gender roles, and gender stereotyping. These are very important, because all this, when we refer to the answers of all this, this will lead us to gender equality. Now, how to prepare for a gender audit? Number one is review the organizational readiness to a gender audit. Your institute, our university, or your college should be ready for a gender audit. It's not easy. That mindset has to be there. The first step is to obtain the commitment of top management and within the organization itself to gender equality principles, technical capacity, and competencies on gender equality and gender mainstreaming. When I'm saying this, that the first step is to obtain the commitment of top management within the organization itself to gender equality. When I say of gender stereotyping, for example, please don't misunderstand me. When I talk in a general way, and I'm not focusing on anything. I'm saying, for example, the system has not changed so much, and why even the NAC or even the UGC or even other, organizations, even the international organizations are giving importance to it, is that something is still wrong somewhere, and there are still some undercurrents where this gender equality is not being given an opportunity. So the organization itself should be ready, to see what measures can be taken in a system to have gender equality principles, technical capacity and competencies on gender equality and gender mainstreaming. So, very important, if the leadership or if the management is not ready to address to all these issues, of course, we cannot have the gender audit. But I again say, if you seek the NAC parameters for evaluation, we have seen in our own university or when we go anywhere, this gender audit forms a very important component, and it has to be addressed, it has to be assessed, it has to be reviewed, and it has to be corrected everywhere. Now, one of the first organization to carry out gender audit was International Labor Organization. See, it is not only for example, in our own country, because economically or socially or technically or scientifically, uh, you know, uh, we are not still that developed than the developed nations. But again, in an international labor organization, gender audit was done. I will also add, pertaining to capacity building of women, it was through we all know about BBC. It was in BBC that first this thing was addressed, that why in BBC women are not moving forward. So different training program, different capacity programs were done for them in order to have them at leadership positions. Similarly, in Australia was one of the first country to see, why why women are not moving forward. They did gender audit in educational institutions, NGOs were engaged, all these participate through various participatory methodology. They wanted to see what's the problem. Now, based on participatory methodology, was done through this International Labor Organization, which aimed to promote organizational learning on mainstreaming gender practically. When we talk mainstreaming gender practically, one is, we see in our own country, we see in our own state that various programs are there meant for women or even for men. Let's take the, grassroots level. But how much awareness is there done for these, programs at the grassroots level? Sometimes I was engaged in one of the evaluation of programs at grassroots level, uh, I think 5 6 years back. And we saw that at grassroots level, whatever programs there are for upliftment of women, of men and women, only 30% were aware, and 30% had availed uh, the financial benefit or the expertise benefit from the setup or from the system uh, as beneficiaries. Others were unknown, and they said we were not told. So when I say, which aim to promote organization learning on mainstream gender practically, we have to know about the methodology in order to see what are the lacunae in order to make the system more effective. Now, what are the objectives of gender audit in higher education? Very simply, I have tried to focus on some of the points. That is, preparing the university to carry out a gender audit. Objectives of the gender audit in higher education. Number one is uh, preparing the university to carry out a gender audit. So one of the main objective of gender audit in higher education: prepare all universities, all educational institutes, all colleges. They will not be ready to carry out a gender audit. uh, then surveying staff to uncover their perceptions regarding gender equality in the organization and program. Sometimes even whether men or women staff, whether teachers, whether administrative staff, whether whether any other supporting staff, they will not uncover their perceptions regarding gender equality, because maybe they have never thought of it, और जैसे चीजें चलती आई हैं वैसे चीजें मूव हो रही हैं in the organization and program. So it's very important कि पहले we should try to motivate our staff to uncover their perceptions. Everyone will not come out of it, and there has to be a methodology in order to uncover these perceptions through various checks and balances, how we can do it. Creating the roadmap for gender action. And then definitely when these three things are in place, we can create the roadmap for gender action. Hope I'm not boring the participants. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I said, hope I'm not boring the audience, because it would have been better, if there would have been brainstorming sessions. But anyway, I'm trying my best to create the interest.
There will be an interactive session at the end of your lecture, ma'am. The question answer session.
That's fine.
Please continue.
The audit would enable the institution to identify the impact of gender relations on their institutional. See, very important. Why this gender audit should be there? Because if we do the gender audit on the various uh, stakeholders, that's our student, our staff. When I talk of student, it has to be both men and girls and boys. When I talk of staff, both men and women. And infrastructure, I talk of both infrastructure for men, infrastructure for women. Maybe when I talk of this, I say a simple facility, a washroom, or a bus specifically for our female students. Or I say about the various gender issues incorporated in our curriculum wherever it is possible. The audit would enable the institution to identify the impact of gender relations on their institutional culture. Institutional culture, very important. Processes of admission, processes of recruitment, processes of research, like that, programs, and its performance and institution and its performance in the institution and vice versa. Now, there are some main, objectives of the gender audit of educational institution, which should aim at Uh, to know about the gender balance in the institution. Now, for this, we all had the exercise of NAC, how they try to ascertain whether there's gender balance in the institute. I already referred, through recruitment, we try to see. I remember in our own university before the present NAC, when we had NAC before this NAC accreditation of a university, in, in one of the departments, they pointed out why in this particular department there is no female staff. And after that, it was ensured that a female staff in teaching was recruited in that particular department. So why I'm trying to give examples, because it makes our ideas very clear when we talk of gender audit, and how this gender audit, if it's in place, our gender mainstreaming is in place, our gender equality is in place, our gender sensitization is in place, we can earn more points from NAC for our own institution. Then, to know about gender perception in the campus, again, it's very important to see, what is the gender perception in the campus. I said from all the stakeholders, we have to know about this. From our students, we have to know. From our staff, we have to know. From our research scholars, we have to know. From society also, we have to know. For example, for a NAC accreditation, there's a very important session when we call, parents for an interaction. So I remember in one of the meetings from outside, university, one of the point made by the NAC peer team was to the parents, how you see mainstreaming of gender into this particular university, and there was, discussion on that. So I'm just trying to give an example to reflect and etch out a roadmap of for gender action. So then, if all these uh, things we try to address, we have to make a roadmap for gender action in our, institute. Now, what type of methodology there can be for gender audit in our own educational institutions, which already we have seen through, NAC criterions, or when we read various gender audits which has been done through NGOs or in various educational institutions, in order to have the gender mainstreaming. We see that the gender audit should be conducted within the broad framework called the gender integration framework. In short, we refer to as GIF, which proposes that transformation can only follow when four institutional dimensions are equipped for gender integration. These four elements are, now, why we are talking of gender integration is, if I talk of my own university, I see that for my own university, it's very important to have, gender integration. I take an example of, HRDC center only. For example, I take an example of HRDC center I take an example of this particular course, okay? When I was seeing the list of resource persons, I saw very few female speakers. Not a problem of HRDC center, but a problem with ourselves, with women as such, because they are not moving forward for this gender integration. And believe me, it's very important that we as women, we participate. Men do participate. Example is this: For you, many of the speakers have been men, and there have been very less, women speakers. So sometimes the system is such that women are not moving forward themselves, or the system is not letting them to move. So we have to, have this gender integration, and this gender integration is very important to see in through our gender audit methodology. Now, what four elements are we referring to? Political will. Political will. Not easy, to do gender audit of any institution, because naturally everything will not be, okay. Lacunae can be there, and is not very important, or I must say, not very straightforward that always these lacunae will be referred. Technical capacity, in technical capacity also, we have to see, when we see the technical capacity, that is technical capacity, of course, IT has its own role, but technical capacity we see, a technical capacity we see at research guides, or how many research guides are there, available of both the gender, of both the sexes, or how many research papers have been published by our male teachers, by our female teachers, how many research projects have been there, taken by male colleagues and female colleagues, like that. And how many, for example, in administration, how many uh, women have moved forward uh, in the administrative setup. I can see that in our administrative setup, for example, in our own university, we have only one female deputy registrar who is therefore who has become as a deputy registrar. So when we see the administrative position, even that's true of other education institutes also, uh, women are not moving forward. I'll again say that it's sometimes that women themselves don't want to take the responsibility. But here, as leaders, or as well wishers of our institutions, we have to motivate, we have to make our both the genders accountable. We have to give them the skills to have that technical capacity, so that they move forward. Then of course we have to make accountable both men and women, boys and girls in the system, to contribute. Men should here be more sensitive to see that women contribute to the system, women have those skills, and women have that expertise. Now I'm sure that we must be having many females as participants also. uh, why I'm referring to this? Because no doubt that women have the dual responsibility, that she has to manage personal as well as professional role. I don't know if any of the participants from this group have attended our capacity building programs of University Grants Commission. University Grants Commission had the special program for women leaders of our colleges and universities, where we used to transact some manuals in order to make aware, and see how women can move forward in academic leadership. One of the manual was women in academic leadership, women in research. Then another was managing personal and professional role. Like these manuals. And believe me, I have also attended those training workshops. Then I was chosen by UGC to be the resource person of Northwest region to transact those manuals. Believe me, when women used to share their own problems, you see, how important from that perspective it is to have gender integration in the system. Then organizational culture. Always everything is not okay in an institution or organization. अगर किसी फीमेल को, और मैं बोलूंगी किसी मेल को भी कोई काम दिया जाएगा, एक्स्ट्रा वर्क, उसको क्यों दिया गया है, व्हाई ही और शी हैज बीन chosen. So gender audit also helps there कि कहीं विमेन को ही तो नहीं आगे ले जाया जा रहा है, कहीं मेल को ही तो नहीं आगे ले जा रहा है. Is there equal opportunity for both the genders in order to move in the system and contribute to the system? Now, when we talk of political will, it means the initiatives in which the leadership within the institution at different levels use their branches of the tree and are also required in equal measures to successfully integrate gender. Means ki down the management system, for example, in colleges and in universities, how when I talk of a tree, I talk of management at the top level, and then I talk of its various branches where we have subsections and head of the sections to measure successfully how to integrate gender, position of power to communicate, and demonstrate their support, leadership, enthusiasm for, and commitment to working towards gender equality in the institution. You see, unless the system hierarchy and down the hierarchy, they are ready to have this gender equality and gender integration in the system, nothing will help. So that's why we talk that there should be the political will, even where it's a state universities or autonomous institutions. Even there, I think the political will is very important. You cannot work in isolation, or you cannot take up this type of a job in isolation unless there is a political will. And I want to just inform the group here that uh, myself and my another colleague and our DICA deputy director this time, Mr. Shaukat Shafi, we did the gender audit of our own university. I could not put my hands on the report this time. I could not find it. Very important, some of the recommendations which we made to our university before the NAC visit. And all those for example recommendations were then um, addressed by our administration of the university. One of the main recommendation was about the daycare center, and it was established in the university later on. Then there was other gender sensitization programs and all other issues. Now, technical capacity, level of ability, qualification, and skills individuals in an institution need to carry out the practical aspects of gender integration for enhanced program quality and level of institutionalization of gender equitable process. Why, we are referring to this technical capacity over here? Uh, I will again, for example, give example of women in a system. Take off education institutes only, colleges or universities. Uh, women get married, and till a certain period, they have to rear their children, um, give time to the children, go on maternity leave, have disconnect from professional career, again join the institute, start their professional career. Also, we see that women do not contribute much to the research. There are various studies where it has been proved that you know uh, at a certain age there's a gap that women have in order to contribute to their professional career. I'm not saying the teaching of classes, but I'm saying their research input in higher education, because of course they have to manage their profession and personal roles, which need much more time. So I'll again repeat: level of ability, qualification, and skills individuals in an institution need to carry out the practical aspects of gender integration. So, why I'm referring here that women get little late back at a certain period is naturally, it affects for some time level of ability, it affects their qualification, and it will also affect their skills individually. For the gender integration, for enhanced program quality and level of institutionalization of gender equitable process. If you see the data of our own university also, if I see the data of my own university also, there was one this thing of NAC, one observation of NAC currently, that women should be encouraged more to take research projects. One of the observation was again that more you know uh, research projects should be taken in social sciences. So when I talk of social sciences, it's both men and women. We had less research projects of both men and women in social sciences. So we have to encourage that. Uh, when we talk of technical capacity over here is how we can encourage girls and boys, men and women both, to practically contributes to the gender integration for enhanced program quality and level of institutionalization of gender equitable process. For example, having debates for girls and boys through our DSW, then other gender sensitization programs where they can contribute. Then accountability, mechanism by which an institution determines the extent to which it is walking the talk in terms of integrating gender equality in its program and organization structures. On papers, we can have many programs that true of any sector. Our NGOs may say we have this program, we have that program, but how much accountable that program is. We may have government schemes for old people, for old age. We may have government schemes for girls, for boys, for women, but how much accountable that scheme is, that we have to see. And similarly, when we talk of our own system in an educational institute, we have to see how this walking the talk is integrating gender equality in its programs and institutional structures. Then organizational culture, norms, customs, beliefs, and codes of behavior in an institution that support or undermine gender equality, how people relate. What are seen as acceptable ideas, how people are expected to behave, and what behaviors are, rewarded. Uh, this is very important. If we see that we have a awarding program of DST for a woman scientist. uh, why I'm saying these example is how a very reputed setups, a very reputed organizations also encourage women to move forward in research, in science, in leadership, and various other sectors. Organizational culture, we have to see, how our beliefs and codes of behavior in our particular institution are supporting the gender equality, or whether they are undermining the gender equality, how people are relating this gender equality to the system, and what ideas are being accepted by the setup of our own institution, and what behaviors are rewarded. Um, for example, being in my own department, I feel, for instance, girls who are studying here from very far flung areas. And sometimes, for example, our hostels, hostels are so flooded, we are not able to give them accommodation. So although our university has addressed this issue to a large extent, but still, we have to create more facilities. So I'm saying, for example, this sometimes any problem is very important, and it's very important for us to address to that particular issue. For example, to have GS cash, gender sensitization committee against sexual harassment in place in any particular education institute is these days mandatory. And if any complaint comes, we have to address to that issue. Why I'm uh, trying to connect it over here is because definitely this has an impact on the organizational culture. Then integrating gender into an institutional activities and structures has dimensions that are both external and internal to organization itself. Now, what can be the external be? Gender integration fosters the inclusion of and benefits to women and men who participate in or who are affected by an institutional programs. For example, your research services or initiatives, जो research projects आपको बाहर से आती हैं, any external services you require, any initiatives you require. Initiative can be budget आपको enhance करना है, finance enhance करना है, infrastructure बनाना. I'm referring to all this. Internal gender integration promotes women's leadership and equality within the institutional policies. This, in order to promote the woman leadership, it has to come from within the internal gender integration, institutional policies and structures, and provides benefits for both women and men in the process. And you see, for example, this helps both women and men in the process, because why we are referring here that internal gender integration promotes women into leadership, because that will, or that political will, has to be from the institutional internal leadership qualities, if we have to promote women leadership in this system. Now, gender sensitive features. Gender sensitivity refers to an attempt to encounter and accept within presumptions. Gender sensitive approach aims at opening, reconstructing, and broadening expectations and behavior models related to gender. Gender sensitive structures respond to equally to men and women's specific interests without any presumption based on outdated views. Gender sensitive features, in order to give some example, for example, you must have seen through NAC, accreditation, even they value the green initiatives that the campuses or colleges take, how they are planting the trees, how they are referring to greenery of the campus and all this. For example, even whether we have for our special children, or I must say for our disabled children, whether we have ramps, like that. So when we say gender sensitive structures, we talk of policies, recruitment policies. We talk of other structures, hostel facilities. We talk of, for teaching, we can talk of the accommodation facilities. Are there any special reservations done for women, like that, equally to men and women specific interests without any presumptions based on outdated views. Now, I have specifically referred here to, why I'm referring presumptions based on outdated views is, for example, if we recruit a female teacher in any department, and she has to commute from a very far flung area, and in our queue we cannot give her the accommodation, the residential accommodation. So what to do we have any separate facility for her where she can accommodate herself? So I'm talking of all this as per my experience. I have also addressed some of the issues here. Gender balance within the institution. Gender balance means the existence of fair ratio of male and female representation within the institution in terms of number of students in the various programs as well as within the staff structure, where we can have that gender balance and fair ratio of male and female, because it's very important to have the fair ratio. But I'm also aware that because of our admission policy, it depends. If females may have more ratio, or males can have more ratio in our admission system. And we have seen through our statistical data that in some years there was even the females enrollment in our campus was 60%, boys were only 40%. That's of course the female did well in their entrance test and so on, of students in the various programs as well as within the staff structure. When I talk of staff structure, I mean we have to ensure that a proper staffing is done at the proper place. That's very important. For example, if it's the DSW office, DSW is for both our girls and boys, we definitely have to see that female staff is there recruited or placed in the DSW. And there are many other sections, for example at our PRO section. So this is how why I'm saying, giving these example is what some examples we have to see where we have to do the gender balancing. The rationale is that traditionally women had lesser access to resources and opportunities due to the social struggles which act as inhibitors to access. This is, when we talk of our girls, or we talk of women who have different background, from the rural setup and so on, because their social structures was not such, and they had lesser access to resources. This results in lesser capability among women, which in turn produces a snowball effect on their empowerment and access to development initiatives. Now, what gender sensitization initiatives can be taken? Gender sensitizing is about changing behavior and instilling empathy into the views that we hold about our own and other genders. It helps people in examining their personal attitudes and beliefs and questioning the realities they know. The need for this sensitivity has been felt and realized through times immemorial and in almost all kinds of human existence across the globe when we talk of gender sensitization initiatives. Recent discourses focus upon the need to sensitize gender issues on campus as education is the catalyst for change. We all know that how much focus is there being given on this. Educational spaces instill thought and enhance the future population from practicing gender discrimination. Gender issues can be sensitized in campuses through various activities like debates, discussions, seminars, theatrical performance, and other forms of art. This can also be done through gender sensitizing cells, gender sensitization committees, and organization of workshops. For example, the University of Kashmir has constituted a Center for Women Studies, which has been functioning successfully since its inception in Internal Complaints Committee has been formed to redress the problems coming under Sexual Harassment and Workplace Act 2013. The university, apart from these, also has provided support for organizing various programs on gender issues. Now, if we conclude whatever I have been talking so far, we can say the rationale for doing gender audit is that they raise women's awareness about their rights and claims, and also their access to resources and opportunities. We make them aware. If they are sleeping, we make them aware. Gender audit allow institutions to set their own structure which discriminate against women staff. Gender audit help institutions identify and understand gender patterns within their composition, structure, processes, and management of human resources, and in the design and delivery of policies and services. They also help assess the impact of institutional performance and its management on gender equality within the institution. Then, gender audits establish a baseline against which progress critical gender gap and challenges, and making recommendations of how they can be addressed through improvements and innovations. That's all, I wanted to convey, although some of the slides I just finished quickly because of the paucity of time. And if there are any questions, please.
Yes, Dr. Ajaz Saab, please unmute yourself.
I thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful, informative talk. Professor Neelo for
Yes, sir,
coming.
I try to, although for this session I would have, invariably I should have 3 hours, because I give some brainstorming sessions to the participants. Anyway, inshallah, next time.
Madam, you have highlighted all the issues related to gender, sex, methods to understand relationship between men and women, socioeconomic analysis, gender approach, gender roles, gender stereotyping, gender audit, creating roadmap for gender action, accountability, and gender sensitizing. So feedback received in the chat box regarding this talk are hugely positive. I
Thank
can
you
describe
very much.
this talk in 2 words: engaging and energetic. I thank you, madam. So, madam, we are having a question answer session. So, in the
Okay.
chat box, I will take few questions. One question is asked by Dr. Zubair. Have we collectively failed to address the issue regarding gender biasing? What is the way out? So, in spite of so many initiatives taken by the government.
Uh, Zubair Sahab, I did, gave examples in between, even examples at the grassroots level. Schemes are always framed, schemes are there, they are being given wide media publication, but what lacks is their implementation. They are not implemented. You must have seen sometimes, even, budget is there but awareness is not there, and the takers are not there. And for takers, what we have to do, we have to do the awareness, we have to do the sensitization. I'll again give an example of this capacity building program of women managers. Believe me, as a head of the department, or as a director, whenever I used to attend meetings with my, male colleagues. They were all my, colleagues as males. I used to be the only female HOD. I used to go and sit at the back, because I never had that initiative that I should be also be the taker. But through various, capacity building programs, various awareness programs of British Council, then of, UGC, I realized, how it's important to go prepared, to be the taker, to implement the initiatives. And believe me, I have this consolation that I tried my best to reach to the all colleges, to have participants from all colleges, and mashallah, they are doing very well. So what is your question is very right. मैंने आपको ये भी बताया कि there was evaluation study I did of various program. I think 10th plan में थे for women and children. Only 30% funds were utilized and only 30% takers were there. बिकॉज कोई गांव में गया नहीं बोलने के लिए, ना विमेन को ना बच्चों की स्कीम्स को, that you are the takers, please take it. So if any gender sensitive initiatives are to be done, it's men and women in the system, boys and girls in the system, that they have to integrate themselves and move the system forward. मुझे लगता है यहाँ पे कमी है. We are not working collectively.
Madam, second question is from Dr. Sanjay Kapoor. What is the ultimate goal of gender mainstreaming?
What is the ultimate goal of
gender mainstreaming?
See, Mr. Sanjay, I have tried to give various, definitions, say stereotyping. Ultimate goal of gender mainstreaming should be this thing, that things should not be influenced, for example, by gender stereotyping. मैं फिर से बोलूंगी, I will not talk of my family in which I have been brought up, because my father was very open-minded, or he used to promote the female education. My brothers have studied in a government school. I have studied in Presentation Convent. It was his outlook. So when I say this, is that we have to change the mindset. We have to change the mindset of women, and we have to change the mindset of men also. Then only gender mainstreaming will be there. जो एक पेट्रियार्कल सिस्टम बड़ी देर से चलते आ रहा है, we have to change that setup, and basically your own mindset. Sometime for a gender mainstreaming, even a woman can be responsible. We should not say only a man is responsible, even a woman can be responsible. So what is basically, we have to change the mindset.
Madam, another question from Dr. Salim Ejaz. To what extent modern education system has helped in solving the gender bias and associated issues?
See, Salim Saab, I will also talk about, NAC accreditation. See, NAC very powerfully, and, through its various methodologies, through its various, accreditation processes, is enforcing, gender equality or gender integration into its higher educational institutions. And definitely when the learners from our higher education institutions are taught about gender mainstreaming, gender equality, then gender integration, definitely all these messages carried into the homes, into the society. And the ultimate aim of any educational system, or any education policy, should also be this, because it's a very important issue, and it should be addressed at the institutional level. You must have seen how UGC or even the NAC enforces to have in the curriculum. In science, I know they say that we should have something about we should try to portray the women scientists in our curriculum. For example, again, I know of home science. Recently we did academic audit, and one of the component to assess was how gender sensitization is incorporated into the curriculum, how human values are incorporated into the curriculum. So this format was circulated to all the departments of a university. So definitely uh, uh, you know uh, our educational system is giving great importance for this gender integration, and wherever in our curriculum in any discipline there is opportunity to incorporate this particular component, we should definitely do it.
Anyone among the participants want to ask a question, he or she can unmute her mic and he or she can ask a question.
Pardon, I cannot hear you.
So anyone, I'm talking to participants, anyone among the participants want to ask his or her question, he or she may please unmute his or her mic.
Assalamu alaikum ma'am and a very good afternoon. This is Firdaus Ahmed.
वालेकुम जी।
मैम
जी
हमारा
बताएं।
क्वेश्चन सिंपल है और सादा है। हमने ये देखा है कि जब भी घर में बेटी पैदा होती है तो अक्सर औरतें ही ज्यादा रोती है इस बात पे, मर्दों से
मैंने वो
ज्यादा।
पहले ही बोला ना, अगर ये इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं होता पूछना बेटा है कि बेटी, तो एट बर्थ ही क्यों ये कन्वे होती मैसेज कि बेटा हुआ है बेटी हुआ। आप बोले आगे।
मैम क्या आप ये समझते हैं कि ये औरत के साथ, ये औरत का अपना एक्सपीरियंस होता है थ्रू आउट लाइफ की, जो उन्होंने देखा तब जाके वो मॉरन करते हैं उस चीज पे, या ये एक इन्फीरियरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स उनके अंदर पैदा कर दिया गया है फ्रॉम एजेस, जो इस चीज को फिर इस बात को सोचने के लिए उनको मजबूर करता है बाय एंड लार्ज।
आपका नाम क्या है जी? मैं हेलो
Dr. Firdaus.
Okay.
कैन यू हेयर मी?
Ma'am, it was Dr. Ahmed.
डॉक्टर फिरदौस जी, मैं बहुत खुश, हाँ मैं बहुत खुश हूँ। आपने एक बहुत ही जनरल और बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन पूछा, और जो आपने क्वेश्चन पूछा ये मेरे दिल में हमेशा ये रहता है कि मुझे लगता है, देखिए पहले जमाने में और कुछ साल पहले, कुछ डिकेड्स पहले, ये जो था ना कि लड़का पैदा हुआ है कि लड़की पैदा हुई, ये बहुत ही एक इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट होता था एक औरत के लिए और या एक फैमिली के लिए। आजकल आप मुझे बोले कि अब मैं ये फिर से जनरलाइज नहीं करूंगी। अभी अगर आप डाउन टाउन सोसाइटीज में जाएंगे, आप गांव में जाएंगे, आप मिडिल क्लास में जाएंगे, आप ये देखेंगे इस चीज को अभी भी बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंस देती है और देते हैं। लेकिन इस चीज का रिस्पॉन्सिबल कौन है? इस चीज का रिस्पॉन्सिबल जो है एक औरत भी है और एक मर्द भी है। फैमिली में दोनों इम्पोर्टेंट है। क्यों? क्योंकि ये प्री कंसीव्ड है, पैट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी है। हमारे माइंड में ये है कि एक लड़का जो है खैर से ये बड़ा होगा, आगे पढ़ेगा, कमाने के काबिल होगा। लेकिन आजकल अगर आप देखेंगे, अगर हमारे घर में एक मुलाजिम था, वो अपने बेटे को पढ़ा रहा था, वो एक प्राइवेट स्कूल में पढ़ा रहा था, बेटी को पढ़ा रहा था गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में। मैंने उसको बुलाया, मैंने कहा आपकी बेटी कहाँ पढ़ती है? कहा गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में, बेटा प्राइवेट स्कूल में। आप देखिए यहीं पे एजुकेशन में भी कितनी एक जेंडर डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है। मे बी हमारी सोसाइटी में नहीं हो, लेकिन जो एक डाउन टाउन सोसाइटी है, रूरल सोसाइटी है, उसमें अभी ये भी है कि जो गर्ल चाइल्ड है वो आगे बड़ी होगी, उसकी शादी होगी, वो और किसी के घर में जाएगी, है ना। और फिर आपने ये पूछा कि हम इसको अभी भी एक्सेप्ट क्यों नहीं करते हैं कि अगर लड़का पैदा होगा वेल एंड गुड, अगर लड़की पैदा होगा ज्यादा अच्छा है। हम क्यों नहीं ये मानते हैं? हमें अभी भी वो क्यों प्री कंसीव्ड वो नोशंस है कि हाय अगर लड़का पैदा होता। मुझे लगता है ये इसीलिए है कि हमारा जो माइंडसेट था, मैं ये माइंडसेट की क्यों बात करती हूँ, माइंडसेट हमारा ऐसा था, औरतों में भी था, मर्दों में भी था माइंडसेट, एक सोसाइटी में भी माइंडसेट था। एक लड़की को बर्डन समझा जाता था, इसकी शादी करनी है, कल को इसको डाउरी देनी है, इसकी शादी पे बहुत एक्सपेंसेस होंगे। और ये जो नॉर्म्स बनाए, ये किसने नॉर्म्स बनाए? हमारी सोसाइटी ने नॉर्म्स बनाए, हमारी फैमिली ने नॉर्म्स बनाए। लेकिन मुझे लगता है आजकल लड़कियां ही खुद इतनी अवेयर हैं, खुद इतनी एजुकेटेड है, खुद इतने इकोनॉमिकली इंडिपेंडेंट है, खुद मेंटली इतने उनकी सेरेब्रल डेवलपमेंट है, एमेंसिपेशन है, कि मुझे लगता है विद टाइम्स और ये चीजें जो है कम हो रही हैं। और मैं ये भी बताऊंगी, हमारे लड़के आजकल इतने अवेयर हैं, आप खुद देखें कि वो अपने घर वालों को खुद बोलते हैं कि मैं जाऊंगा, निकाह करूंगा, कहवे के कप में करूंगा, मस्जिद में करूंगा। तो आप देख रहे हैं कि एक अवेयरनेस आ रही है। ये अवेयरनेस कैसे आ रही है? ये अवेयरनेस इसीलिए आ रही है कि जब हम खुद बात करेंगे, अपने सिस्टम्स में बात करेंगे, अपने एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूट्स में बात करेंगे, मीडिया के थ्रू बात करेंगे, तभी जो है ये चेंज जो है, ये चेंज आएगी विद टाइम, कल्चरली आएगी और सोसाइटी में भी आएगी। आई होप आई हैव एड्रेस्ड टू व्हाट यू हैव सेड.
Dr. Ifat Bashir, I guess, if I remember correctly, she wants to ask some questions. She can unmute her mic.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैम.
वालेकुम इफ़त जी, बताएं.
जी मैम. Ma'am, isn't it an equal responsibility on the part of parents to teach their male children right from their tender age that boys don't make girls cry instead of teaching them boys don't cry?
Oh, yes, a very good question. और आपने शायद आंसर भी खुद ही बोला कि क्यों पेरेंट्स ऐसा क्यों करते हैं, लेकिन इफ़त जी मुझे लगता है एज अ मदर I must say कि things are changing. I have a male child. Believe me, अगर शाम को खाना खा रहे हैं, वो सबकी प्लेट उठाएंगे, वो ले जाएंगे किचन में. क्यों? उसने बाहर पढ़ा है. He studied outside India, जहाँ ट्रेनिंग ही उनके सिस्टम में ऐसे होती है कि boys also contribute at home, girls also contribute at home.
Yes,
And nowadays I know mothers, fathers, they equally give importance to the girl child, whether it's education, whether it's sports. I just missed to say कि for example ये gender integration की जब हम बात करेंगे, we have to see that gender integration is also in the sports. For example, in our own university, when NAC accreditation was there, we had very less data to put up, about the gender integration into sports, because female students are not moving forward or they are not participating in sports. So, जो आपका question है इफ़त जी, very well understood, very well taken. Duty of both the parents to educate our male child. That it's not only the duty of a girl, always to work at home. She's, engaged in her education. She has to come home,
Yes.
And she has to study also.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
With
Thank
this,
you.
thank you, madam, for sparing the time to speak to us today. So I may now hand over my mic to Professor Geer, sir.
One more question from Dr. Shaukat Subhan Mir. This will be the last.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum ji.
Ma'am, we are from science stream. It was totally different for you people. Today we were learning about the research, science topics, very informative lesson. So I have one question that, madam, if we have at present the percentage of population available at a global or a national level in which this gender bias is still existing.
Pardon, I cannot hear you. Thoda louder bole.
Percentage of population in which still this gender bias is existing at national level or at global level.
The various statistical figures are there available at
Yes,
the global level, at the international level, at the national level also, where still the scene is not that, it's not that good. Although, various programs are there, various policies are there, but still, although, many changes have been there, many good things have taken place, but still the scenario is not good for the gender integration as we think it is. So that's why we talk of gender audit. And if you have asked for specific, figures, give me your mail address, I will mail you. I'll mail you the full data.
Because at the time of birth, parents feel, but in the long run, then we parents are giving more attention towards the girl students for their education when they go
हाँ,
out of the
मैंने आपको अपना एग्जांपल बताया है, लेकिन हम एजुकेटेड क्लास है, हम टीचर्स हैं, हाउ इट और किसी फैमिली में तो मेल चाइल्ड होता नहीं है ना, देयर ऑल और अटेंशन इज ऑन दोस गर्ल चाइल्ड, इज इट? लेकिन मैंने आपको ये एग्जांपल क्यों दिया डाउन ट्रॉडन का, उनका माइंडसेट अभी वैसा ही है. सो as a responsibility of educational institution, we also have to think of extension reach program. SNAC का एक important parameter क्यों होता है extension reach program? इसीलिए how well we are connected with the downtrodden societies for various issues, could be even gender sensitization.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am. It has been a very insightful, visionary, as well as a very highly interactive session. And in my humble opinion, gender studies have assumed a special place in academics and research and are receiving greater attention worldwide owing to their direct linkages with overall progress as well as development of nations. Okay. No meaningful development and sustainable progress is actually possible in the contemporary world in absence of gender equality and gender justice, be it education, health, culture, work life, polity, or economy. Conventional gender stereotypes need to be abandoned, and gender equality should be ensured in all walks of life in order to bring about an all-round and inclusive development of the society at every front. As long as archaic notions of patriarchy and gender discrimination continue to be a norm, egalitarian society and a balanced male-female relationship in a socio-cultural context will continue to remain a distant dream. Teaching learning process, pedagogy, and knowledge systems too need to be liberated from all kinds of gender disparities and sex-related vulnerabilities. Ma'am, Nilufar Khan, ma'am, you have very elaborately discussed various epistemological, pedagogical, and ontological aspects related to gender, with a view to comprehend the progress made by us in our march towards a society free from all kinds of exploitation and oppression against women. And we hope that the participants of this particular course would utilize the knowledge acquired through this session in their personal as well as official life and would contribute their bit in addressing the related issues at the societal, institutional, community, national as well as international level. We know, ma'am, you have been taking up this particular issue on a missionary basis with a missionary zeal. It has been one of the pioneering initiatives from you. You have been doing a yeoman's service in this area. We acknowledge your services, your contribution in this field, and thank you very much for sparing time for this session, interacting with the participants, enlightening them about the various critical issues concerning gender equality. So this program would itself have been incomplete without this particular session. Once again, I wholeheartedly thank you on behalf of all the participants and say goodbye to you. We will be looking forward to have you again in future. Thank you once again, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Girsa, for giving me an opportunity to interact with the participants. It has been, through the question answer sessions, it has been, in fact, the interactive session at the end, which I always look forward for these types of sessions. And my request to the participants, when you go back to your institutions, just think in a smaller way how you can do the gender audit of your institution and how this gender integration component can be enforced into the system. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Now, Dr. Ejaz Ahmed Dar Saab, moderator of this session, is requested to continue with the participant presentations. Perhaps Dr. Arshad Jahangir is ready. Dr. Arshad Saab, can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Yes, I am ready. I need to share my screen.
Dr. Ejaz Saab, please go ahead.
Okay.
Sir, actually, we are having two presentations before lunch. The first one is given by Dr. Arshad Jahangir. He is assistant professor from Department of Environmental Sciences, University of Kashmir. The title of his talk is Virtual Tour to High Altitude Lakes in J&K. Dr. Arshad Jahangir.
Thank you, Dr. Ejaz Saab. Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to all of the participants. First of all, it is my pleasure and honor to deliver a talk in front of my colleagues. And I would like to say that this is my third faculty development program at HRDC. And it is a tradition and culture of the HRDC that after the end of the program, they used to take us for a tour to Gulmarg or sometimes to Manasbal Lake so that the participants could enjoy and interact with each other. And but due to the present conditions, we were not able to do that. But this came to my mind that if we could not have the actual tour, let us have a virtual tour of our high altitude lakes in J&K, which we have visited from our department. We are doing some research on these lakes, and I will be sharing. I will not be sharing hardcore science, but simple characteristics of these lakes and what work and what papers we have published at the end, what we have done in these lakes. And this all started, if you see, in 2011, I was with my students on an ecological tour to Dehradun. And there we were asked by the tour guide that you can visit Mussoorie, which is a hill station nearby this Dehradun city. And there is a lake also there. And we were very excited that, okay, let us go and we will see the lake. And this photograph I have taken from NAT actually, but I could not find my this own photograph. So this lake was there, and when they said that this is a lake, we were very surprised because in J&K we have almost 1,200 lakes, and 150 are located in Jammu region, more than 400 in Kashmir, and we have more than 600 lakes in Leh region. If you see, the lakes of J&K can be categorized in three types. We have valley lakes, which are present in the floodplain of Jahlim mostly, that is Dal, Vular, Manaspal, and other lakes. And then we have alpine lakes, Gangabal, Gadsar, Tarsar, Marsar, and other lakes which we have in the Greater Himalayan and Pir Panjal ranges. And we have saline lakes, which are located in J and Ladakh, particularly Somorari, Sokar, and Pangong Tso. So I will first have a glimpse of this valley lakes, which are mostly located near the Jhelum Basin. We have Dal Lake, Anchar, this Khushal Sar, Hokar Sar, but I will not go into detail of all these lakes. I will show some photographic views of these lakes. And this is Dal Lake, and all of us know it's situated near the university campus, and this is very famous, located at the foothills of the Greater Himalayan range. And this lake is around 6 meters deep in Nagin Basin, and average depth is around 2 to 3 meters in the Hazrat Bal Basin and Gagribal Basin. And if you see, this lake has achieved very importance because this is very famous, and Srinagar, particularly Kashmir, is known by this lake also, if I say. And whenever we feel tiredness, we usually go and visit around the boulevard, and we enjoy its this beauty. And this lake has different features in different seasons, and it is always enjoyable to see and watch and move around. We have shikaras, and the shikara ride is very enjoyable also. You have charchnaris. We have two types, Sonalak and Rapalank, which we call in Kashmiri. And you can see we have houseboats, and I will say that Dal Lake is incomplete without houseboats, and they are very important part of the lake ecosystem. Without houseboats, the beauty of Dal Lake is not there, because these are, I think they are very essential part of the system now. And most of you may have already may have enjoyed this stay in the houseboat. I hope so, but you should go and at least take a cup of tea in the houseboat. It's very enjoyable. And then we have Ular Lake, which is the largest lake in Kashmir. It is around 170 square meters, has now shrunk to 130 square meters. And this is located in the Baramulla Bandipur district. This is the absorption basin of this lake. This is the absorption basin for this lake, and for Jhelum Basin basically. And other Madhumati and Iran rivers from Bandipora also drain into this lake. This view is from the Watalab area, and you can see this is from the Vintage Park. And you know how there's a huge plantation of these salix plants which are located in this lake, and government has come with a plan. We have done environmental studies of this plan, that is the government is going to remove, almost it has now removed most of these plantations. You can see this cutting of trees going on. Then they will be dredging this lake up to 1,576 meters. They will keep the depth of the lake. And we have done this environmental study of this management plan, and we have submitted it to the UOK. And these are some of the photographs from the lakes, from Watlab area, from other areas. This is 6-meter deep lake. Highest depth we have measured in this lake is 6 meters deep. Then another lake, which is very, we can say a freshwater lake and deepest lake in the Kashmir Valley, that is Manasbal Lake, which is 13 meters deep. And it is located in Gandarbal district, around 25 kilometers from this Srinagar. And we have been conducting studies in 2014, and almost 2, 3, or 4 PhDs have been done on this lake from our department itself. And we have done some paleoclimatic studies in this lake. We have retrieved a core from the lake, which is around 21 meters core we have retrieved from the lake. You can see this platform where basically we have retrieved 21 meters of core, which are for which analysis have been done. It will be published inshallah in this year. And we have also got some short cores from this lake, and this is the view of the lake from roadside, and this is the whole view of the lake. You can see in the video if you are able to see it. I don't know. I think you need. The video is not running. I will skip this. Okay. Another lake which is very important is Anchar Lake. It is eutrophic lake, mostly covered by vegetation all around, and you can see huge these patches of vegetation, macrophytes, emergent macrophytes, submerged, and we have water channels in between. I think it takes a time, and we have water channels where this navigation occurs in between. It's mostly, we have some small lakes which most of you must have not heard. Vaskura Lake is located in Gandarbal district. It is spring fed lake, mostly fed by springs, although it's an oxbow type lake. The depth is 6 meters, and there are agricultural activities occurring in this lake. And we can say this is a rural lake, mostly because there is very less anthropogenic impact in these lakes, and we are studying it for comparison to the with other lakes also. And then we have this is another glimpse of the Vaskura Lake. You can see here these people engaged in this lake. Actually, they collect the macrophytes and they use it for fertilizer in the agricultural production. I think my slide is a little bit late. 1 second or 2 seconds. I will wait for that. Okay, this is Khanpur Lake, another rural lake, which is again 4 to 5 meters deep, a very clean lake, and located in again in Gandarbal district. And we have Hansar Lake. We have done some studies on Hansar Lake. We have retrieved cores from this. We have been able to date up to 200 meters short cores we have taken. And we will be giving the pollution chronology of this lake. Inshallah, we have already compiled the thesis, and one of my scholars is working on this lake. And this lake is also very important because they have not been degraded till now, and that's why we are taking these lakes for study, so that we could provide the better conservation and management of these lakes instead of what has happened to our other valley lakes. Then I will go to the high altitude lakes, which we have taken tour from our department. My colleagues and where with me, we have been studying these lakes from last 4 or 5 years. We have been able, we were also enjoying the tracks, and we are also collecting information on these lakes. And most of these lakes have not been basically surveyed or touched, except this Gangabal Lake, and which has been reported in literature. And we took I will go first to this Tarsar Marsar track, which basically we took from Aru, and we reached Leatherbutt, and from Leatherbutt we also went to Kolahai Glacier, and from Kolahai Glacier we came back to Leatherbutt, and then we moved again to this Tarsar Lake, and then to the Marsar, and then we moved from the Hari Garman area. If you see, I think there's a delay in the maps. I will wait for some time. You can see there in the map that we moved from Aru towards Leatherbutt, and we can also come back from, we went from Kangan area basically, and then we visit 2 lakes there, that is Tarsar and Marsar Lake is located in between Kangan and Pahalgam. And if you see, this is the Leatherbutt. We move from.
Sir, unmuted.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, this is Leatherwood area where when you move from Aru, you will reach up to this area. You can have a camping site here, and then from this area we move. This is the stream coming from Tarsal Lake, and this is the stream coming from the glacier, this Kolhai glacier. So we move towards the Kolhai glacier next day. This is a waterfall on way to the Kolhai glacier, and we cross up this mountain ridge where there was another small lake, and this is the glacier, basically Kolhai glacier, which is the biggest glacier, and Department of Earth Sciences, our colleagues which are in my colleagues also here, which are in this refresher course, they are working on this glacier, and they were accompanying with us, and there is huge noise going on in this glacier, and unfortunately, after 1 week, there was an accident in the Kolhai glacier. Two of our climbers were basically killed in that on this glacier. So this is a beautiful glacier and largest glacier of Kashmir Valley. This is the snapshot. I have taken all these pictures from my mobile phone. You can see this snapshot here, and of this whole glacier. I have tried to collect it. This is the tongue of the glacier. It's not a whole glacier. This is only just one part of the glacier from which we were able to see from this area. This is the glacier extends up to from below after this peak also. So this is the glacier, Kolhai Glacier. And from Kolhai Glacier, we move towards Tarsar Lake, and this is the road. Basically, on the way, you have beautiful valleys, and this is the first glimpse of Tarsar Lake when we climb the track. And these are the camping stations located here. You can see this, and this is Tarsar Lake. It is 45 meters deep. We have measured the depth of this lake. I think this is the first time somebody has reported this depth. We'll be reporting that 45 meters deep lake. This is, you can see, this is a little bit curve shaped and very beautiful clean water. You can see from here, the bottom is quite visible even from the top. And you can see we were, my colleagues, Aftab Saab is in this presentation, Samiullah Saab is with me, and other scholars. We took water samples and other types of study which we usually do in these lakes. And
Dr. Saab, please conclude now.
Yeah, just give me 5 minutes more. So you can see this lake from the top also. And these are the other glimpses of Marsar. We visited from this lake to the Marsar Lake. Marsar is very famous part because this means that there is some jinn which is basically located in this lake, and which we also, I will say that we also observed something when we were in this lake. We experienced something noise, and our boat was not going well, and we also we thought that there is some mystic or we can say something happening in this lake also. So this lake is again 37 meters deep. We took the depth of this lake. This is 37 meters deep. Rain was falling at that time. Then we had a bag, we used it to our back to the Starser camp where we stayed. We can see there is a lot of solid waste which is generated by the camping areas. We try to burn this waste also. And then this is another view of the Tarsar Lake. You can see from here. The presentation is coming very slowly on I think on your mobile because I can see it from here. So this is the view of the Tarsar Lake again. You can see it is an outlet of this Tarsar Lake which goes to the Leather Valley, and this is the ridge. This is a very beautiful lake, and this is the camping site mostly where these people stay. And then from Tarsar we went from Jajmarg and we saw another lakes, and then this is the way to the Kangan area. We moved from this Sanmasi and then back to this area. So these lakes have been surveyed first time, and I think the video is running very.
Rasa, please conclude now.
Just give me 5 minutes more, Ejaz Sahab.
One more presentation. We have to accommodate one more presentation.
Yes, just give me 5 minutes more, please. I will just go for this another track, and which is located on the Greater Himalayan Range, which is often referred as Great Himalayan Lake Tours. We moved from Sonamarg to Naranag, which is around 55 kilometers track, where we have 4 or 5 lakes. We have Ishansar, Kishansar, Godasar, we have Gangabal and Nundakal. I will move quickly and try to. This is where from we started from the Sonamarg area. You can see Thajwas Glacier. This is a Sonamarg bowl. This is the photograph from tabletop, and then we move towards. This is the Vishansar. Vishansar Lake is 23 meters deep, and this is that from Nichna you basically reach to Vishansar, and we tried our luck with the fishing, but I was not able to catch, but somebody caught it, and we took lunch with brown trout. You can enjoy this there. There is fish species brown trout basically occurs in this lake. On the outlets, we were able to catch some fish species of brown trout there. Yes, we can say it was a virtual lunch also. So this is Kishan sir. This is 16 meters deep, and then you can have a view of both these lakes from the God sir top. This top is around 4,000 meters altitude from which this photograph has been taken. The lakes are situated at 3,800 meters altitude. This is Kishan sir, and this is Vishan sir. Then this is the God sir, and you can see the glaciers there. This is 70 meters deep, and this is like a bowl, you know, it's like a well, and it's very dangerous to sample because the glacier is always falling, and there's a chance of accident also. So, but this is a very beautiful, and we have a fish piece of diptychus here. The water from this Gadsar goes to the Kishanganga Lake from Gurez Valley, and it goes to Kishanganga Lake, the outlet. This is another view of Gadsar. And from Gadsar, we reached to Gangabal. Yes, just 2-3 slides more. This is the on way. You can see this Nanga Parbat peak, which is located in POK. And this is when we move from Gadsar towards Gangabal area. This is the Gurez Valley located in this section, and this is the Nanga Parbat peak, which is visible from this track also, and very beautiful. This is Satsar on way to this. These two. This is the lake, Gangabal and Nandukal Lake, which we took from Jajbal Pass, which is around 42 meters altitude. And Gangabal Lake is very beautiful. It is 80 meters deep lake, and this Nandukal is 23 meters, 16 meters deep. Gangabal has fish, and most people come here for fishing also. You can have some glimpses of this lake from the close by, and we did some analysis of this lake waters also. Very fresh, clean waters. Yeah, we stayed for 2 days here, and then I know time is very less, but this I had one more lake in my mind, that was Komsarnag Lake. I will just share the slides of that 2 lakes because that is what we have observed during 2016 and 17. I will then end this presentation because that is for all of us. Yes, I will conclude with that only because I want to share these 2 slides because that's very important for all of us to see what is the difference which has occurred from 2011 to 2010. Just 2 slides I will share now. This is Komsarnag Lake, which we visited in 2020 in August. This is the deepest lake in Kashmir. It is more than 100 meters deep. We had a roof of 100. We have an eco center. Unfortunately, that was not working, but this is definitely the deepest lake, 100 meters. It has no outlet. Outlet is from Mahinag. It's underground outlet. We have this lake. And this another photograph is in 2011, same month. You can see 2011 in August, same month. The lake is frozen, and lake has all types of these. We have snow covered mountain peaks of the same this lake. It is the same month, that is 2000, that is August, and it is in 2011. And same month in 2019, you can see no glaciers in the lake, and perhaps because this year for more than 3-4 months we didn't have precipitation. But this is the change in our climate which is occurring most in the Pir Panjal range. I thank you very much for your patient I can say seeing and listening also. But unfortunately, we don't have much time to discuss other lakes here. Thank you very much, Ejaz sir.
Okay, Dr. Arshid Jahangir was talking about lakes, their locations, dimensions, and vegetation. So, if time permits, shall we allow Dr. Gawar Rashid to present her presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Just let me.
I am ready.
Arshid Saab can stop sharing.
Yes, yes, sir.
Sir, is my screen visible?
Your screen is visible, but
Yes,
we
it
want
is
your
visible.
PowerPoint presentation. I told you should have kept your PPT open, not your screen. And you have to share the window which has the PowerPoint presentation. You can stop sharing and the window which has PPT.
Okay,
Stop sharing, then share
okay, sir. Okay,
again. You have to choose the window which has the PPT.
okay, sir.
Right.
Is it
No,
visible,
no,
sir?
no. Again, you have shared the wrong window. You have to share the window which has the PPT.
Sir, it is in
Stop,
desktop, sir.
stop
Is
sharing
okay, sir? It is
and
in
share the.
desktop, sir.
Have you opened the PPT? Have you opened the PPT?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is
You
open,
have
sir.
to
On
choose
my
the window.
Microsoft.
Yes, you have to choose the window which has the. Yeah, this is the one. Now go for the slideshow below. There is a cup like symbol. Click on this cup like
Okay,
symbol
sir.
below.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Is it visible, sir?
Have you clicked on
Hello.
this?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now you have clicked. Okay. Yes, it is visible. Please start.
Is it visible? Okay, sir. Esteemed course coordinator, Professor M. Isa Gir Sahab, respected participants, Assalamu alaikum. I, Gawhar Rashid from Government Degree College, Kulgam, is going to deliver my presentation on topic environmental impact of riverbed mining. As we know that rivers and streams play an important role in the aquatic and terrestrial ecosystem. But nowadays, they are under the huge pressure due to various kinds of anthropogenic activities, among which riverbed mining is one of the major activity occurring in all over the world. The demand of riverbed materials increases day by day for construction purposes, urbanization, and development, which lead the major environmental effect in and around the terrestrial as well as the aquatic ecosystem. For the development purposes, the natural resources like bed material are major raw material. The increasing demand of riverbed material like sand, gravel, boulders, the illegal mining, sand mafia, mining in agriculture fields, floodplains area are increasing day by day. Now, what is riverbed mining? Riverbed mining is the process of removal of sand, gravel, and boulders from the rivers and streams. The name of this raw material is based upon their size. Like if the size of the material is less than 256 mm, then it is categorized as boulders. And if the size varies between 64 to 256 mm, it is called gravel. Pebble size varies from 2 to 64 mm and are divided into 5 types because of their different sizes. If the size varies 32 to 64 mm, we call it coarse gravel. If the size is 16 to 32 mm, we call it medium sized. If the size is 4 to 8 mm, we call it fine gravel. If the size is 2 to 4 mm, we call it fine gravel. Another material which is extracted from this rivers is the sand. Sand is a movable, non-cohesive granular material whose size varies from 0.063 mm to 2 mm. Sand also divided into 4 types because of different size. Very coarse sand 1 to 2 mm, coarse sand 0.5 to 1 mm, medium sized 0.5 to 0.5 mm, fine sand 1.25 to 2.50 micrometer. Very fine sand 62 to 5.125 micrometer respectively. The term sand is used to cover almost any rock or mineral, but technically it is limited to cotton sand with a minor impurity of mica, iron oxides, feldspar. Sand and gravel occur as sedimentary beds, lances, and pockets laying on or close to the surface or interblended with other sedimentary formation. This is the picture extraction of this sand by manual as well as this mechanical means. This is the scenario of bed mining around the world. The riverbed mining activity is done in the whole world. World countries like California, USA, Africa, Spain, China, to construct the buildings, roads for development and urbanization. The riverbed material like sand, gravel, stone, and boulders are present in all the world rivers. The mining of these materials all over the world, the mining of these material, the mining of these materials, legal or illegal, occurring because these materials have high demand and economic value in all over the world. In the world, total 47 to 59 billion tons of the bed material is extracted every year, in which riverbed materials, sand, gravel, and boulders share the largest part, 68% to 85% of the extracted material. All over the world, different methods are used to extract these bed materials by mechanical or by manual means. In lakes, floodplains, agriculture fields, the removal of the material by manual process does not show a high environmental impact in comparison to the mechanical, like JCBs, forklifts, tractors, etc. are used to collect the material from rivers and streams in large scale. In India, there are many perennial and annual and seasonal rivers, streams which provide a large amount of nature resources like sand, gravel, and boulders. These materials are beneficial for the development of the country in a way of urbanization and industrialization. India is a developing country and is the second largest populated country in the world. The infrastructure, industries, and urbanization are the main key pointers for the development of developing country. The main raw materials for construction of these key pointers are natural material like sand, gravel, and boulders, which are obtained by the rivers with perennial, seasonal, or annual. India is a mega biodiversity country, and all over the states of India, there are many rivers which provide these raw material in large amounts. Thus, major rivers in India in which this riverbed mining occurs is Indus, Ganga River, Yamuna, Bias, Jhelum, Satluj, River, Chenab, provide the large amount of raw material. The sand and gravel in the large amount for construction, urbanization, and industries for the development of the country. The rapid growth of the population across all states of India are affecting the all natural resources in which sand and gravel include. The unscientific mining of these materials show the many environmental effects in and around the river ecosystem. Some studies are showing the environmental effect due to mining activities in across India. These are the effects which occur in and around the around the streams and rivers. Effect on morphology of the river, effect on the water quality and flow, effect on aquatic biodiversity, effect on riparian biodiversity, effect on soil and landscape, social ecological impact, impact on health. This is the mining occurs in the streams of Jhelum and the Vishal stream. Effect on the river morphology. River morphology means the shape and direction of the river channels. The river channel morphology is the combination of many processes and environmental conditions in which erodibility and composition of the bed and banks with sand, stone, boulders, erosion by natural and anthropogenic activity, affected the formation of the river path. Some anthropogenic activities like mining of riverbed materials, sand, gravel, stone, and boulders within the river channel caused erosion and degradation of the river bank. The major effect of river morphology by the riverbed mining activities given by many other follow. Upstream incision, the head cutting of the river system by many kilometers by the mining process in the slope of the channel bed stream. The upstream incision cause lowering of the bed material of the main channel, also lowers the bed material of the tributaries by increasing their slope and cause their rapid erosion. Downstream incision, the downstream incision occurs when the sediment mining is excess and prolonged in the river or stream. The excessive mining of the sediments in downstream disturbs the sediment transport and its flow, show the sediment deficit in the downstream. Another is the lateral channel instability. The mining activity shows the channel instability, bank erosion, changing in channel width, bed eroding. The excess in the stream mining shows the sediment deficit, leads to the washing of finer grains from the bed material and is developed the bed aroma. Effect of gravel bar skimming. The change in the continuity of the sediment transport induces the downstream incision and lateral. It shows instability of the channel and it removes the core surface layer of the sediment that occurs in many nature rivers, failing the bed erosion and increases the bed load transport. Loosening of the river bed. By the activity of mining, the bed material gets loosened when the volume and flow of the water increases in the rivers and streams, which results in more erodibility of the bed material, which gets deposited accumulated on the way of a river, which results in the diversion of river stream water to other side. This is the morphology of the stream, visual stream. This is the mining. This is the photograph of mining. This is the channel when the diversion of water takes place due to the accumulation of this sediment. This is the another photograph, shows the mining effect on the morphology of the stream. Another effect is on water quality and the water refill. Rivers are the major source of freshwater ecosystem. The rivers also recharge the groundwater of an area continuously. The quality of water ecosystem, surface as well as groundwater was disturbed due to the riverbed mining activity. Effect on surface water quality. The riverbed mining effect on the surface water quality of the river due to the removal of material in the bed of the river. The major effect of mining activity on the surface water of any river is increase in turbidity level, TDS concentration, and conductivity of the water has been increased due to the mining. Some toxic elements.
Please,
Sir.
please conclude.
Okay.
Please conclude.
Some toxic elements like selenium, zinc in the river water were found high after the mining. Effect on groundwater quality. The riverbed mining caused the depletion of the groundwater by lowering the water table, and it affected the process of groundwater charge. Another effect on the fish on the diversity. Rivers and streams are the habitat of many aquatic animals. It covers the major portion of the freshwater animals: phytoplankton, zooplankton, periphytons, benthos, and fishes. The bed material like sand and boulder provide the habitat and shelter to these animals. The removal of bed mining activity affects these animals by removing the sand, boulder, and stones from the rivers. The turbidity of the water also affects the phytoplankton, zooplankton, the benthic organisms which take shelter under these stones and boulders. By removing these stones and boulders, the habitat of these benthic organisms destroys, and it affects the population of benthic organisms. The riverbed mining affects the reproduction and spawning of these fishes, especially the fishes Schizothericus, because these Schizothericus fishes prefer to live in the crystal clear water and fast flowing streams. Due to this mining, the water flow of these streams has changed, which affects the indigenous fishes like Schizothericus. Effect on the riparian biodiversity.
Please move to your
effect of the it is the effect of riparian biodiversity. Effect on social and landscape. This is extraction of this in the agricultural land. If socio-ecological impact, these are the some impacts which are going on the social mining parameters. This is the illegal mining creates the mafia and sometimes result chaos and conflict among the people, disruption of irrigation channels. This is the stone crusher. These stone crushers have the impact on the health of the humans. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to speakers of the day for sharing their expertise with us. So we will meet again after lunch. If Gir Saab has to say anything, so.
Yeah, one last word. Thank you very much to all the participants. We had 6 participant presentations today, apart from the lead session by Professor Nilofer Khan. Thanks to all of them. Thanks to the moderator Ajaz Saab also. Though we are running 10 minutes ahead of the schedule, but we will start our afternoon session dot on time. So I would request all the participants to please be back by 2 p.m. because our next session will start at 2 o'clock sharp. Thank you very much. See you at 2 p.m. Gawar Saab, please stop sharing.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Stop share पे आपको प्रेस करना है. ठीक है, thank you.